And we're back.
Wait, I did it wrong. To the Goblin Squad.
It encapsulates where we are.
Yeah.
So we just recorded about 25 minutes of an episode and forgot, I say recorded loosely, we forgot to hit record.
On the cameras. Are we recording everything else? Is everything on?
We're on. We're good now.
The stress.
We have audio. We hit camera. You got a little red
I'm
light.
Here. Yep.
Little red.
There's a light.
Good.
I see you.
We're doing
see you.
We're doing great. And now,
okay. And the stress.
shout out the Commodore.
The Commodore. I was like,
Bless him.
We need beverages. We just messed up real bad. So now everything's fine.
But yeah, we'll maybe have a little benefit for the audio only listeners.
Yeah, if you're pod only.
We got on a weird tangent. That was the longest intro of all time, where we talked about video games and Twilight for about 25 minutes.
Which has nothing to do with the topic that we're covering today. So,
I mean, barely at all.
sorry. I'm so sorry.
But as the Gobs out there
Yeah.
have told us they appreciate, and we see you,
We do.
that we're putting ourselves out there,
Yeah.
warts and all,
We're trying everything.
you know,
Makeup-
as a goblin does.
Makeup free. Hair's a disaster.
Right? Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I am wearing my husband's sweatshirt from high school
Yep.
because I wanted to feel comfy and warm.
Right.
Because we are having a blizzard renaissance outside. It looks like it stopped now.
I think
But
maybe.
as we stated before,
Yeah.
we fully jinxed it, I think, last time.
We
We
did.
were like, oh, what
Mhm.
a mild winter.
It's nothing.
And
it's nothing.
now we got over 2 feet
In,
in
like
some areas.
48 hours.
Yeah. So in that spirit, what are we talking about today?
We're talking about getting outdoors.
Yes.
Goblins
Even when there's snow.
in the wild.
Yes.
Getting yourself out there. How to deal with outdoor rec. How to break into outdoor rec.
How to gamify it.
Yeah, so that you want to do it.
Yeah, make it
Because
fun.
It's
Make it
not like
interesting.
we don't love nature. Goblins, we know this.
Mhm.
We love nature. But sometimes the siren song of the indoors.
Oh my God, I want to read a book. Read it outside.
Yeah.
I want to play video games. Play them
Play
outside.
outside.
I mean, you can. You can do all the things.
And that's a whole thing, right?
Right?
So we're going to
Get
talk
some sun
today.
on your face.
Yeah, we're going to talk today about kind of like thoughts that you have that prevent you from doing the things you want to do outdoors.
Mm-hmm.
Obstacles that we've run into trying to get into outdoor rec, ways that you can make it fun for yourself, and then talking about like feelings and experiences that we've both had trying to get into outdoor spaces. So if this is something that you've been wondering about, and we've heard from a lot of you Gobs that you want to talk about, you know, being out in nature and nature hikes and touching all the moss and finding all the rocks, and some people
Collecting all the things.
all of them.
Yes.
As you noticed when you came in my house today, I had moved.
I was like, did you bring these out for me?
No, I just move them around occasionally because I think maybe they like better spots. It's my 2 bigger bowls of rocks.
I
With
love
my
that.
favorite
You're just like,
rocks.
they want to see the kitchen.
Yeah.
Also, she has this rock. We should post a picture of it. Maybe I'll insert it right here. It is one of the weirdest rocks I've ever seen.
It's weird.
It is it's shaped like a finger.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can
Yeah,
describe it.
yep.
But like a very long, where I'm like, with the finger of a god.
And for
like,
for my rock Gobs,
So
it's
weird.
It's a piece of basalt.
mm,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
we know what that means.
It's
I did
basalt.
great in earth science.
It's basalt. Okay.
I had to take Earth Science 1 and 2 the last 2 weeks of my high school
You got to get out of there
because I didn't take them
just for fun.
until I had to do a symposium of Earth Science.
I mean, you really crushed that into a small period.
Yeah, I was like,
Oh.
let's do it all day, 8 hours a day for 2 weeks. Earth Science.
It sounds kind of awesome. Actually.
It was actually really fun. Our science teacher was a shit. Shout out Margie.
Yeah.
She was cool. But yeah, it is a very cool rock.
It is. But as we have found out from you Gobs sending us photos and just your stories and your comments,
Yes.
a lot of us have rocks all over our houses.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
And all the things. I have a lot of sticks.
You are a stick goblin.
I am very...
You are a stick goblin.
I like wands, and I like, if I find a really good long stick, I'll do a walking stick.
Mhm.
But then I'll do something I can make a hanging off of.
Oh, that's cool.
Where I like to dehydrate and dry fruit and then hang off of a glorious stick. And that
That's
makes your
nice.
house smell nice. Especially in the spring, as the sun comes out and it hits it. Some
And it
dried
warms it.
oranges
Oh,
and lemons and grapefruit. And
so good.
oh, so good. But these are the things where it's like, okay, you got to give, I feel like, for me especially,
Mhm.
you know, and maybe some gobs out there, I need to give, or I like to, rather, give myself a task
When
when
go
I'm
out.
getting out in
Mhm.
nature.
Because sometimes we've had this conversation in our household, the Commodore and I, that sometimes, you know, when we feel like we're starting to get on each other's nerves or like there's nothing's working, nothing's going
Yeah.
right, we can't make anything work.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell is going on? And then the Commodore will say, I need to be in a space that's not right angles. Like, I need to be
Ooh,
out seeing shapes that are not, I need to see
the
irregular.
poetry of that, though.
Yes.
The
I
fucking
know.
Commodore.
I know.
With his quills.
His quills and his Moscow mules.
Cheers to you, Sarah.
To you.
That is very beautiful. I
Yeah.
don't know what, that hit me. I was like, ooh.
He does that all the time with
I
his
love that.
inadvertent poetry.
Secret genius.
Secret genius.
He just keeps it inside.
He does.
Yeah.
Very quiet.
Share it with us.
Share it with
The world.
To the Commodore.
Yeah. To you,
Cheers.
sir.
Have a drink.
Wholeheartedly
Delicious.
agree. No,
Yeah.
these are delicious.
Yeah, yeah.
But yes, hard agree.
Yeah. So for like just moving forward with the conversation, as far as like being outdoors, did you grow up in a household where you were brought outdoors as a kid?
I actually did.
Okay. So what kind of outdoor rec did you do as a kid?
Okay, so we actually did a lot of camping.
Sweet.
Yeah, where it's just like, if you you've met some of my family, you
I
might
have.
be like, really? We did. And I feel like that is one of like my most cherished things about my mom growing
Yeah.
up. She really did like try to get us outside camping, or we'd go to campgrounds and camp too, where it's like, okay, you can still like use a legit bathroom.
Yep. Yep.
Or something, bring the dog and go out on the lake with
Yep.
the other children.
Mm-hmm.
But then, we would do rollerblading
Mm-hmm.
a lot, and we're blessed with, having the lake walk and stuff here. And
I just thought of a story that I gotta tell you about
Okay.
rollerblading.
You're like,
It just occurred to me now that there's a camera, I can't hide it. Where I'm like, oh, I had a thought.
oh, I have a couple I can follow up with.
Rollerblading.
Yes, rollerblading. We'll put a pin in it.
Mhm.
But,
Mom,
yeah.
you know what story it is. Here it comes. Oh.
And then every time when I was younger, RIP Gramps, but we would go, my mom grew up on a farm,
Okay.
she was full like 4-H.
Mhm.
We were actually talking about it earlier. She's like, yeah, I used to show bunnies and stuff, and I would have sewing things, and I would get like best in pillow pattern or whatever.
Adorable.
Yeah, in the 60s, just like, in 4-H. But we would go to her childhood home, which was my grandpa's house. And
Mhm.
I remember just, jumping in the barn on hay bales and picking carrots out of the garden
Yeah.
and stuff. So that was kind of, I like that weird, like getting your hands dirty
Yeah.
type of stuff. And then obviously camp,
Mm-hmm.
Camp Miller.
Camp
Shout out.
Miller.
Love a bog stomp.
Shout
when
out.
Potlatch was
Oh.
still potlatch before
Potlatch.
it's sappy. Looking at you, paper mill. But they had their
For
own.
our local Gobs.
But they shout out Cloquet.
Shout out Cloquet.
But they had their own little camp thing that
Mhm.
they did where they would take people bog stomping. And I remember on my first time, because they give you those big wader boots,
yeah.
right? But they come up like above your knee.
Yep.
I stepped. I don't know how. It must have been that deep. My whole leg it done come out. it came out of the boot.
Oh.
Before I noticed, fully stepped back in, got stuck. I was like, help! Help me! The boot has disappeared. My leg is sinking.
There's nothing
Like
scarier.
3 people had to
There's nothing scarier than slowly sinking into a bog.
As we've talked about cryptids and stuff in cranberry bogs, like,
No.
not today.
And,
No.
growing up as a child, getting slowly sucked down into quicksand or a bog,
It is the biggest fear.
that was something I was greatly afraid of.
Oh my God.
And again, I blame the never-ending story. Because
Fair.
the swamp of despair, I can't even. We will not speak of it. But the idea of slowly sinking into a bog.
It's horrifying.
Yeah.
Had I been alone, I probably just would have crumbled.
And been like,
Just like,
this is it.
Like a piece of tissue paper. Like,
Yeah.
I'll die here.
This is the end.
Absorb my body.
This is how I wish to go. But
I'd
then,
end up like one of those
the
people.
bog people. I was just going to say,
Yeah.
once you sink down in there, it's anoxic.
And you turn like into stone.
Because there's no oxygen. The bacteria doesn't. Insert bog person.
Because it's crazy and you have to see it.
Yeah, so those people, it's anoxic, so there's no
Wild.
bacteria, so they don't rot.
It's so, which you think it would be the opposite. You
Yeah.
think bog. You're
Mhm.
thinking like,
Yeah.
probably a little smelly,
Yeah.
a little rotty.
They just
No.
are in perfectly preserved form, and they're
So crazy.
ancient, and it's bizarre.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But, I think those were my favorite things
Mhm.
growing up. Getting anything I could get dirty
Yeah.
doing, and where you have a task though, or like an objective, you're trying to identify something, you're trying
Yeah.
to find something, or you're seeing like who can find the coolest, weirdest thing
Yeah.
in the woods. I love that shit. Like make it a competition or a game.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think especially if you have low motivation to go out, and
Yep.
if I just want to go out for a walk, which is perfectly fine,
Yeah, do your
is
walk.
not cutting it for you, and you
Yeah.
need something to get you to go out the door, that's where the gamifying comes in,
Dude.
where you pick a goal. So
Mhm.
whether it's I have the goal of I am going to go out into the woods and look for this specific species of flower, or I'm going to go and look for this specific mushroom, or I want to go out until I find 5 species of bugs, or whatever it is. Set a goal for yourself.
Did you ever have those little bug catcher things as a kid?
Hold that thought.
Okay.
Okay, we're not going to stop recording. We're not going to stop recording because in order for me to get it, I would have to get up, leave, go around the corner into the room full of animals, climb up on the haunted armoire that hides the tiny door, which you've all heard about, and
Which is on the other side of this room.
retrieve the sacred artifact.
Which is
A handmade by my parents
it's
bug house that my mother and father made together one year when we didn't have any money for presents. And so they made, because, we were all just hanging on out here.
yeah.
And so my parents went out into the woods and they did 2 things. They harvested big, huge sticks, and then they went to the hardware store and they got enough lumber to make this bug house that is like yay big, like a foot long, and it has mesh over the top of it, and then it has a wooden door with a wooden dowel that's like the pivot, and the door swings open with a little hole so you can put your bugs in, and then it swings shut so they can't get out. It's got a leather handle, and then my mom painted a butterfly on the front of it, and each one of me and my siblings got our own with its own bug on it. Yeah, and then they worked.
This is why you are the way you are.
I know.
If anyone ever wonders, like,
my parents actually did
That
a really
is
good job.
so beautiful, and the
Yeah.
fact that they made it together.
Yeah, and then
like, for the children.
They made the walking sticks too, so each of us got a walking stick. So my dad planed the front of it so it was flat, and then my mom hand drew animal tracks on them, and then my dad varnished it and then put a piece of leather through it so we could ID animal tracks while we're hiking.
Okay, great idea.
Yeah, and so
Hack.
I've tried to convince him to make them now because I'm like,
Oh my
kids would
God.
adults want
Right?
that.
I'm like, I want one.
Dad, if you make them, I will sell them for you. I will sell them out of my
Okay.
future Goblin Market truck.
That is one of the most beautiful stories I've ever heard.
And I still have both of them.
Oh, of course you do.
So the walking stick is actually
the sacrilege if you ever got rid of them.
Yeah, it's actually at my mom's house so that I can take it when I take kids for a walk.
Aw.
And then the bug house is here.
'Cause you're
I want them
paying it forward to the children.
take them out on, we call it Walk Wednesday. Yeah, they're really good little baby goblins. And
Your family is so goddamn cute.
thanks, we try. We've made it through some stuff.
You are literally the Weasleys. Like,
You know how when you're in it, you don't appreciate it? And then when you grow up and you're, creeping up on 40 or older and you're like,
You meet raccoon people.
and you realize it's okay to be a stabby crab. People still
is.
love you.
They absolutely do.
Yeah, and then you look back and you're like, oh my God.
You're like,
They
it was
were-
I.
They were trying so freaking hard.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah, I was pretty lucky, actually.
I love that.
Yeah.
Because I remember, okay, my mom was doing the best.
Yes, she was.
Because she got me one of them, I don't know where, probably from Walmart, the
Mhm.
Walmart or something. It's like green.
Yep.
And the
They
little
still make
green
'em.
net and then
Yep.
the magnifying glass.
Yep.
And me and my friend Kara, shout
out.
who we've known each other since we were 5, we were really big into collecting worms.
Yep.
Whenever it would rain, it
Mhm.
was our thing.
It was your thing.
We would get hella worms. We also had a June bug pet
Oh,
named June, not very creative,
like you do.
who we had a full funeral for. Cause
Oh, June.
spoilers, he immediately died. Because I believe we put him in a Tupperware
I mean,
with no air.
most bugs
It's like,
don't make it very long.
we put leaves in there. No air.
No air.
Suffocate. R.I.P. But we had like a full, where I was like,
Oh.
we were fucking pagan little kids.
Yeah,
We had
you
like a full ceremony for this little bug. We made a little fucking, little tombstone and like put
Oh.
him under a tree in our townhomes that we lived in. We were like, R.I.P. Junie, man, you was a good bug. You were the best. You flew around and made weird noises. He was the homie.
He was.
But collecting bugs where I'm like, why don't we do that now? It's so fun. Little magnifying glass.
It's very
They're so
fun.
weird.
And again,
See them doing little tasks.
you
and stuff.
can you can catch bugs as a grown up.
Shocker.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
And you can. People will look at you and think you're weird, but like you can do it as a whole class.
It's so interesting.
I can teach you how to make. Wait, do you want to keep them alive or dead?
I mean, tell me both options.
So alive is difficult to do because
Yeah.
most wild bugs you should look at and release. However,
Yeah.
if you're collecting for entomology,
Mm.
where you are making like specimens,
Pinning them.
yes. So then
Yeah.
that's a whole art.
Oh my
in and of
god, the
itself.
people who do moths and stuff,
Mhm.
or like, there's this gal I follow on TikTok who people send their pets, like deceased
Yeah.
pets, in who have like praying mantises or something.
Yep.
She does these like gorgeous,
Fully articulated.
and then they get to like have their little buddy for. I'm like,
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, and so if you're doing entomology, and again, people have different feelings about it depending
Yeah.
upon your views.
That's
And there's
fine.
some animals like Lepidoptera, so butterflies and moths,
Mm.
and Hymenoptera, bees, that I don't intentionally.
Sorry, I had like a mummy flashback when you said Hymenoptera. It's like the Book of the Dead.
Oh.
It sounded like that. Don't read from it.
It was the city that they said in the movie was named
It was something
something-
Anoptera.
Anoptera, yeah.
But
It was.
you said that I'm a librarian.
I do love Evie so much.
Love her. Also, Brendan Fraser.
That whole movie is an entire
Oh my god.
masterclass in
Bisexual
in
nightmare.
coming.
Also
Yeah.
dream.
I mean,
Everyone's awakening.
it definitely was an awakening movie. Mummies 1 and 2.
Oh,
and
bless
we're
her.
not even going to talk about Imhotep. I mean, it was a whole thing.
Everyone's confused.
Anaxunamon! You know how many times I shouted that? Where I'd look at my brothers just be like, Anaxunamon! And they'd be like, oh my god, all right. They're like, what the hell is wrong with you? I'm like, oh. Yeah.
The quotes I do from that movie,
Yep.
literally. But
Mhm.
that hit me. I'm like, was it something?
Hymenoptera.
Was it something with bees?
It might have been. I didn't
Yeah.
really
We'll
think
look it
about
up
that.
later.
We'll look it up later.
Maybe insert here.
Maybe. Wait, wrong side.
Oh,
So, yes, morally, Hymenoptera and Lepidoptera, I don't prefer to, like, if I'm doing anything with entomology, I don't catch and kill just because, like, pollinators in general are already severely at risk. So,
Yeah.
but the good news is that a lot of Lepidoptera don't live for very long, butterflies and moths. So if they're already dying or if they've died a natural death, you can still preserve them. So I had a lot of people when I was doing entomology find them for me.
Yeah.
Especially if they lived out more in the woods, because there's 3 large species of moths. So this, spoilers, I'm going to push this as a future episode about Lepidoptera, because mothing, if you're not familiar with mothing.
Which we've been saying we're going to do in my yard.
And we can do this year.
We have to.
Yeah.
We've been talking it up.
Yes. Now we have cameras. And now we have cameras.
The night vision.
Yeah. Just wait. You just wait. The moths. Yeah.
We're going to
Mothra
turn into
lives.
ghost hunters, but with moths.
Did you see it?
The ectoplasm.
Yep. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah. So, explain.
So, we have what I call the big 3 in the upper Midwest for moths, which is the Luna moth, which most people are familiar with and is my favorite.
That's the one of your tattoo.
It is one of my tattoos, yep. The Cecropia moth, and I'm totally all of a sudden blanking on the last one. Oh my gosh, it'll come back to me.
Okay.
So there's a third one whose name all of a sudden I can't remember.
Yeah. Voldemort. Fill in.
It'll come back. So they are huge. I mean, like, massively huge.
And we get big ones at my house, dude. That's where I'm like, we should do this.
And then there's one I have, so I haven't seen all of them. I've seen 2 of the 3. And sad story. So I had a friend who's no longer a friend, because sometimes
it happens.
You got to cut those ties. It's eclipse season. So
full guillotine.
We cut ties. But this friend knew that I had not seen this species of moth, right? It was the one I hadn't seen.
Yeah.
And they found one. Like, it was alive and healthy. And they brought it to a mutual friend's house and, like, informed me that they had the moth.
How'd they bring it there?
In a like a container.
Oh,
just like a soft container. Because moths are very breakable.
They had bug catching gear.
Yeah. I mean, we were friends.
Yeah.
So,
I'm just somewhere. Let's put it in there.
Yeah. And only one other person that listens to this pod will know this story. You know who you are. And so this friend let the moth go 5 minutes before I showed up, knowing that I was driving to the location to see the moth. It was just like, heh, and let it go. Let it go. Is that a friend? No, that's not a friend. We're not friends anymore.
I'm not shocked.
No.
That's so rude.
Yeah.
Like they knew it was a thing and you were like,
like,
the thing!
Like I had been looking
Baltimore!
looking for one for 15 years and had just not found one.
Please tell me you raged at this person.
So I showed up and I was really excited, and then they just said, "Oh, I just let it go. I didn't think you cared." And I turned to the other friends that were there and I was like, "Okay. Sure." And I didn't even.
You're like, you don't get my attention.
No, I was
right
like,
now.
I have nothing to say here. I have nothing to say.
That's so gross.
Yeah, it was not awesome. It's gonna bother the shit out of me that I didn't bring my phone up here and cannot Google this moth. Google big moths. Big moths in northern Minnesota. Okay. I'll keep telling the story while she Googles. So those moths are like the easiest of the big moths to find. I mean, they're not easy. They have time frames. But I have one on my bucket list that I have wanted to see. Actually, 2.
Ooh.
Yeah, the rosy maple moth, which is that beautiful.
Cecropia.
Yep.
And
Luna.
Polyphemus.
Oh, thank you. Oh my God.
I have a lot of these ones, Cecropia, in my yard.
That's the one.
That you didn't see?
That's the one.
They're all over my yard.
Yeah.
All over.
Show the class.
Wait, I'll insert a better picture. You can't see.
You can't see it on the phone. But so Cecropia, Polyphemus, and Luna.
They're all. I have pictures of these on my phone.
It was
Fuck
meant
this
to
bitch.
be.
She wasn't your friend anyway.
So
sit in syrup. Oh, dude, we're mothing, and they're gonna come because I shit you not, all over my yard.
Yeah. Okay.
With that little bit on the bottom.
I'm so excited.
Yeah, dude.
Okay.
The Fern Gully.
I'm getting emotional.
You're gonna see the moth. It's gonna happen.
Okay.
Springtime. summer.
This
I don't
year.
know when they come out. This year, summer.
By the end of June, it's usually done.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah,
So we gotta get on it.
I'll check with my moth friend. I have a moth friend who I really want on the pod.
Of course you do.
She's so great, and I'm gonna convince her to be on the pod. And I was like, "You can do it. It'll be great." And she was like, "I don't know if I can record and have a microphone and a camera." I'm like, "Yes, you can. We can do this."
Have I met this person?
No.
Okay.
She's
I was gonna be
very
like, has
shy.
she met us? I'm
Yeah.
like, we're doing it.
She and her significant other are two of the best, nerdiest. Like, if you take them in the forest, they will enchant you for hours about everything.
Love
Bugs,
that.
moss, birds. He will jump into the ditch and catch ditch fish to show you the minnows and be like, oh, it's blah, 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 that only spawns in the blah, blah, blah. And you're like, how did you know? And then she'll launch herself into the brush and come out with a snake.
Yes!
And you're like, why? How did you two find each other?
Just wild people.
And I knew them
Full
before
feral.
they got together. And then when they got together, I was like, oh my God.
You're like, this tracks.
This is so great.
Oh my God. I love that they're both like that.
Oh, yeah. Fully. I went on a
That's fantastic.
bird hike that they led this last fall season. And
Because
it
of course.
fully like morphed into bird/late season mushroom, where she was like, is this a shrimp mushroom? Is this a this? And she was just like in the forest crawling around in the dirt. And I'm like, I love you so much. So I fully have to get this couple on this podcast.
Oh my God. I want to talk to them.
Yes, but
Hello.
they have seen both of my bucket list moths. Okay, one is the rosy maple moth, which is that beautiful yellow and pink one that everyone thinks is fake, but is absolutely real.
Because it looks fake.
It looks fake. And
Because it came out of a fairy portal. I mean,
maybe.
probably.
And then the coolest moth of all the moths, the black witch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great name.
The black witch. And that bastard is humongous. Okay. It's gigantic. Like so big. Like, look at your hand and then realize it's bigger than your hand. Okay. And it is mostly black with these super fine, cryptic, like little ultra beautiful stripes all over it.
Ooh.
And it just looks like a fictional creature. Like it should not be.
Where is this moth?
So it exists in North America.
Okay.
But they move seasonally. And we here in the northern Minnesota arena at the end of Lake Superior, we're kind of outside of its window, but we get what are known as vagrant moths on an annual basis, right? The vagrant.
The vagabonds.
Yep. And so they
took a train up here.
Yeah, they get blown in. And
I love that they're just like moths doing their own thing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to go show my presence.
Yep. And it's such a rare thing that every nerd I know in all nerd circles
Black
messages each other. Like, there's a black witch on my porch. And people leave their houses in the night.
I'm coming to your porch.
Yes. And they're like, tell me if it leaves. I'm on the way. Tell me if it leaves. Because no one will catch them. Like just let them be, right?
They're witches.
Because people don't
You trying to get cursed, bro?
Don't hold them. But then, like, once you're there, you can, like, carefully pick it up and do all the things. So, those are the moths. But when I tell you that even just mothing, like, come on now.
Oh, my God.
Doesn't that sound like the best weird hobby ever?
Dude, I remember, I think maybe 2 or 3 times I've seen a Luna. I remember the first time I was like, what is that?
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
Yeah.
I think it was in Hinckley at Joel's mom's old place. Like, they lived in, they snowbird, right? So they lived in this kind of campground thing, and it was on the screen door.
Yep.
And it was fucking.
It's huge.
I was like, is it glowing in the dark?
Yep.
Like,
and their color is one of the most difficult to replicate. Like, of natural color to, like, if you're trying to illustrate one, or it's very difficult to replicate. And
it's shifty.
As soon as they die, the color starts to degrade. Mm-hmm.
That's weirdly beautiful.
Yeah.
Though.
And they only live for 7 days because they don't have a mouth.
Really?
Yeah, they don't eat. I know.
I was not prepared.
They don't have a mouth.
What?
Nope. No mouth. They just eat until they're a big, fat caterpillar. And then they
have a mouth, obviously, when they're a caterpillar.
when they're a caterpillar, they eat and eat and,
and
eat
then
and
it
eat.
just...
And then they go into a cocoon because they're a
Yeah.
moth. They don't have a chrysalis.
Yeah.
And then when they come out, no mouth. And then they have 7 days to find a mate.
To just be beautiful.
Yep.
So their only purpose, once they're as hot as they can possibly
Yep.
be, is to just get it on and
Yep.
make more.
And the males and females look completely different. So
What
a
do
lot of the
males look
times, the males are the ones that we find with the big, beautiful wings. And the females...
Like birds.
Yeah, a
Girls
lot
are
of...
just brown.
Yeah, and some moth females can't fly. They just have this really huge, beautiful, fuzzy body, and sometimes tiny wings, or sometimes not even wings. Yeah, I'm sorry, this has turned into a moth episode.
Like the caterpillar from A Bug's Life.
Yeah, actually,
I'm a
exactly.
beautiful butterfly.
Let's get out of here.
Look at my wee.
A beautiful butterfly. Yep.
That was good.
Thanks. I love that caterpillar.
Love him.
Yeah.
But his little bitty wings.
Yeah.
And they lift
Spoilers.
him up.
He's a
I'm
lady.
flying.
Yeah.
That was so much information.
This is how
They
you
don't-
go outside. This all came
They don't
from
have
the
mouths.
This all came from the bug house conversation.
Dude, bugs are interesting.
They are
though.
interesting, and a lot of people are really afraid of them. And
Fair.
they are one of the barriers to entry when it comes to going outside.
That is true. I mean, ticks, man.
So
Which are supposed to be super bad this year.
yeah, because of the weather.
Yeah.
So let's transition into this discussion. So if you want to be outdoors and you have a lot of reasons, like if you didn't grow up outdoorsy or you don't have experience going outdoors, it can be incredibly intimidating to try to A, pick a thing,
Yeah.
B, be prepared to do it, and C, like, what do I, and like,
Right.
you might not have the confidence to go do it. And when I say outdoors, I don't just mean like, I'm going in the woods with my canoe and my like, super rustic
I'm
one-person
portaging.
yeah, and I'm bringing only my food is dehydrated and I'm only fishing.
And the little spaceman ice cream bars.
Those slap.
They're delicious. But also the people who have them, like, you don't have cookies, bro.
Yeah, like, come on, man. So that's awesome. And if you want to do that, do that.
Hell yeah.
But going outside can be, I am going for a walk in my neighborhood. I am
Your yard.
going into my yard. Like, you don't have to shut yourself down by saying it is only valid if it is this. Like, I am only outdoorsy if I do this. If-then statements can, like, super shut down your ability to have awesome experiences in your life. Like, I didn't know I liked moths.
Right.
I didn't know I loved them. And it just, like, I happened to be out doing another activity and encountered a big moth and was, like, stunned and shocked and then became fully obsessed. And you have to allow yourself the freedom to be interested in what you're interested in. Now, going out at night with moths has some issues. Issue 1, in order to attract the moths, because they don't just fly to you.
No.
They're not like, I love you.
I'm a beautiful butterfly.
A beautiful butterfly.
Why is your impression so good, though?
Look at me. I'm a beautiful butterfly.
Wait, I'm sorry. Can you, while we're on your amazing impressions, can you hit my gobs with a little Sid the Sloth?
Are you ready? I'm ready. Okay, full disclosure. This is meant to be Sid the Sloth. Okay? I want you to ask me a question. Ask me any question.
What's your favorite kind of moth?
So, I just want to tell you right now that I'm super interested in Cercopia moths. And you have to understand something that they're always leaving me behind. Why do they do this? It's the last dandelion of the season. The last melon.
I swear, you hit me with that randomly one day.
It's a 4-letter word. Starts with L, ends with E. Lice. I know what you have. Starts with L, ends with E. Oh, It's life.
Life. Oh, fucking A.
Yep.
It's so good.
Thanks.
Damn, you got the secret impressions just loaded in.
Why are they all animated creatures?
They're like 90s, early 2000s cartoon creatures.
It's really niche. I don't know.
Obsessed with it.
I can't wait to find more. I don't know what else I got in there, but you know.
But these are the things, right? So it's like you discover, your love of moths.
Yeah.
By just getting out there, and you happen to see one, and there's so many things you can just kind of happen across. Like my stick TP obsession.
It's fully engulfed your life.
I didn't just come about there's one by my house.
What?
So I'm trying to figure out, and Joel is helping me, as if it's on private or county land.
Sure.
Because I want to go to there.
Yeah.
Because on my road right now, obviously not a lot of leaves on the trees. I was driving home the other day, and the snow has kind of like illuminated, the contrast helped a little bit with the brown and the white.
Yeah.
Obviously, I saw it, I was like, oh, like I was driving home. I was like, there's a good one. Like built in the woods on like 2 blocks maybe away from my house in the woods.
Really?
But I don't know if it's private land, so I don't want to just be like,
we can pull up the county GIS maps and I can tell you the owner.
This is what
Turns
I
out
need
that
to
stuff's
do.
not private.
Because there is a snowmobiling trail right next to it. So I think it might be
public.
That's where I'm like,
oh, you could go in there.
Can I go in there?
You could go in there.
One of these days,
I know.
I'm going to be sitting. I'm going to be
And
in
if you go in there and you
and
leave
the Bat Boys will descend. Cassian! Azrael! It will happen.
I get it now.
And you'll be there with the Luna Moth.
Yeah, I'll be like, wait 1 second, gents. I have to examine this moth.
And then you will slowly.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, oh, that's Sarah. We know her because she's a fairy. She's been here before. A changeling child, that
Pretty
one.
normal.
Yes. But I'll keep you posted.
We'll find out.
Because I was very excited. But these are the things, right? Where it's like you have to get out there and find your weird thing that gets you interested in going outside.
And if your weird thing happens to correspond with a hobby that's established, let's say, I'm going to throw some out there, okay? So, birding. Mm-hmm. We had a whole batch about it. Mm-hmm.
I have a picture I have to show you at some point because I think I was visited by a large raven this morning. May have been a crow. But it flew right in front of my car right when I got to work, and I was like, wow, that's big.
You're real big.
Yeah. So
the Commodore hit me with an anecdote from his work week where one of his coworkers was playing a crow cawing sound at work.
Yeah.
It's the same coworker who attended the Dragon Boat Festival in a chameleon costume. More on that later.
Also, saw him jingle-jangling outside of Walmart.
I bet
for
you did.
For the
What costume was he wearing?
Chameleon. I was like, what does that have to do with Christmas?
Chameleons like Christmas too. I guess.
saw him, and I immediately was like,
You knew. I
was like, not a lot of people have that costume.
No.
I bet.
In fact, I've never seen anybody
Never
else
have
with that
I.
costume.
No.
So he was playing the caw sound of a crow around the office during the Commodore's work day, which interrupted his work. And he was like, is there a crow in the building?
Is there a bird in here?
So when he went out after, his coworker said, I'm sorry, I was playing this crow sound because I thought, I'm supporting my friend's team whose name is the Ravens, and I have to play this raven sound. And the Commodore hit them with the, ravens say "awk awk" and crows say "caw caw." And the guy was like, "What?"
Just mic
And then
drop
he said,
on him.
"Is that real? Or are you totally making that up?" And he was like, "It's real."
Have you met my wife?
And then he was like, "Where do you even learn that?" And he was like, "My wife." And I went, "It's true."
Awk awk.
Awk awk.
So what do we think? Crow or raven?
Let me see. I'm gonna do a diagnostic assessment. Here. Oh, it's difficult to tell.
I might have another
Give me another.
picky.
There's some things you look for with a crow versus a raven.
Because the tail is a big one, right?
So ravens have a wedge-shaped tail, like a spade.
It's hard to tell.
And
'Cause
crows,
kinda...
and you can't tell when they're sitting.
Wait, can you tell from that one as it was flying up?
I'm going to look here. It's given raven.
It is.
Yeah, it's
because
given
it was
raven.
big.
And in the first picture, the beak is kind of recurved a little bit, which crows have it totally straight.
And I remember you saying too, where it's like the difference between a crow and like the
size.
size. Where I was like, that's a big ass bird.
Yeah, if you look at it and you're like, holy crap, that is a huge crow. It's probably a raven.
And it tripped me out because I parked and it like it was like in sync and it landed like right in front of my car, and then I was like, like I gotta show Sarah because you have this amazing video of
we can insert the
this
video,
bird.
I suppose. I'll put
just
it in.
give it a couple seconds.
Yep.
Of this bird just communing with you.
It really
it's one
did.
of the craziest things where I'm like, if you actually like think about how weird and rare that is, that he's just like, hello.
Yeah. And he fully wanted my lunch. So he was coming down to make friends and inform me that he really wanted that roadside tamale. Best tamale I ever had in my life. Yeah.
I mean, wouldn't you?
But there was a big sign specifically saying not to feed him. Mm-hmm.
Did they know him?
Yeah. He and his mate were regulars.
Oh, was he a mean boy?
Well, no, they just didn't want them to be super acclimated to people.
Oh, that's fair.
But I may have had crumbs. I was a messy eater.
I dropped some on the ground.
And I said, here's to you, bud. And I took a big messy bite of that tamale. And that was that. So,
well, I mean, how could you not? Like that, you have to.
Secret childhood dream. Finding an injured baby raven, nursing it to health, illegally keeping it as my friend.
Aren't they the one that had the eggs?
The beautiful... Oh, another
the
thing. The one with the eggs.
eggs.
Okay. Another thing I have never found in nature, but is on my list of things to find in nature. Again, start making a list of things you are looking for.
Bucket list.
Yep.
Like nature bucket
Start
list.
making a list of like here, and you could see it on TikTok. You could see it on Instagram. You could
make
see
a
it
bingo board.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you can even get yourself a prize that you only get when you finally finish that bingo board. Okay?
Love that.
I could make a Sarah's Goblin bingo board of all the weird crap I've never found in nature and give it to you if you would like. Let us know.
Yes. Leave a comment.
If you want it, you know where it goes.
Let us know.
In the comments. So raven eggs are the most stunningly beautiful dark green. Like, that you have not seen, you know? Like, you would never believe that that is the color of the egg.
It's so crazy.
Yep. And I have never found one, like a shell.
Don't they usually go on, like, cliff edges?
It's difficult because they're very adaptable. But like where we live, they can nest in super tall pine trees.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of times because they're incredibly intelligent. I mean, arguably the most intelligent bird that lives here, hands down. I mean, like, smarter than a 5-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Can learn to talk. Make sounds to imitate objects that aren't birds, like a rock
using
falling
tools
in water,
and shit.
using sticks to do things, like unlocking things, stealing your shit. This is what they do. So
Exchanging shiny things for, like,
they'll become your friend.
currency.
Mm-hmm. They're
Yeah.
like,
I brought
like
you a
this.
button.
Mm-hmm.
I brought you a coin piece.
Mm-hmm.
I would like a snack.
Yes, and we'll
Crazy.
also teach their offspring which people have been friendly to them and which have not.
I was going to ask you this.
Mhm.
So I've heard this about crows.
Yes.
I wonder if it's true with ravens, where they hold grudges.
Yes, they
If
remember.
someone's like been
yes,
shitty to a crow.
yes. They will remember, and they will teach their offspring that
I
person.
love that for
yeah.
them.
And there's a legitimate study that was done on facial recognition in crows, where the researchers had people that harassed the crows, but only wearing a mask, and so they couldn't see the face.
Yeah.
Yep, and then they waited until, like, they would do this with repeating generations of crows, and, like, they would harass the one generation of crows, and then they wouldn't harass the offspring to see if the offspring
Would
do anything, and the offspring were taught by their parents that this
Generational
person
trauma.
is bad. It's real. It lives in your body.
It's like the potato famine all over again, dude.
Oh, my God.
That's why we're hardy.
Yeah. Strong bones.
I would survive during a famine.
Me too.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So they're very, 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 very smart. And
Gee.
their ability to learn
It's just
quickly.
in the gene pool.
Yeah, and I knew a raven for a while.
That sentence.
He died tragically, too.
Oh,
it was horrible. He died in a flood.
In a flood?
Yeah, the flood. Mhm.
Oh.
The flood.
Oh, no. Was he
Yeah.
at the zoo?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So he was great, and he had a mate who was a wild raven who flew down from Spirit Mountain to visit him every day and land on top of his enclosure, and he would feed her through the bars. Yeah. Yeah.
The tragic love.
Yeah, and then they were never together because he was stuck in there. I know.
Were you ever tempted?
Oh my God,
Just-
all the time.
Fly free.
Yeah.
Be with your love.
All the time. And then if you would go in to care for
my
him,
heart.
you had to make sure all of your stuff was clipped onto you, like your keys. Because one keeper went in and the keys weren't clipped on. They were in her pocket.
Yeah.
And she was busy cleaning, and he snuck up behind her and stole her keys and then hid them. Like all the keys.
They're too
all-
smart.
Yeah. And and he would steal the mice.
He's letting out tigers and shit.
Oh, yeah. He'd be like,
The polar
R.I.P.
bear.
Yeah. Mm. I mean, she did get out.
The flood.
Flood. Story for another time.
Oh, I was in North Carolina when that happened.
Oh, God.
I'm glad.
That was-
And then by the time we moved back, Hurricane Sandy. We were
Oh,
just
you really,
dodging
you
and
were,
weaving.
Whoa. Get out. It's last season.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Oh,
So find your weird bingo card.
absolutely.
And if you want ours, you let us know.
And if you make them, please send us
Oh,
pics.
send 'em.
We want to see. Or just let us know your weird thing.
And we can put them on the bingo
What's
card.
your exactly?
Mhm.
We just make a goblin nature bingo card.
And again, when I met the Commodore, I had a few, like, I have never seen this and want to see this things on my list.
Yeah.
And so when we started dating,
Mm.
he was like, let's go on a drive, like you do in the dead of winter up to
Yeah.
nowhere with cell reception. And
Those are so fun though.
yeah, and so he was like, well, what are we? And he has like a super hypersensitive bird sense. So like
he does. I'm
Not-
not even when we've been sitting on the porch.
he'll be like, hooah!
he's very aware.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so someday we'll get him to tell the horrifying fishing story.
Oh my god.
The scariest.
I was in rapture.
You were. But
What?
also, the man can find a bird in
Yeah.
the forest. I witnessed him at 45 miles an hour, a dead stop. Like, there's a grouse. And I'm like, where? It's just brown. And he was like, it's there under the tree behind the rock sitting there. And I'm like, what the hell?
Over the mountain and through the woods.
Yeah, and there it was. And it came out and was like,
Hello.
yeah. So I told him, I really, really, really want to see a spruce grouse. I had looked for a spruce grouse. No shit. I had gone out for 12 consecutive winters.
That's a lot of winters.
Yep, because birders would be like, oh, they're on this logging road in
Yeah.
this town. I'd be like, what? Let's go. And I would go. Never. Never. Did I see other amazing things while I was out there? Yes.
Yeah.
Did I have, no joke, a lynx, not a bobcat, a lynx, jump out in front of my car and walk in front of my car at a distance, respectfully, for half a mile.
Oh no.
Enough for me to confirm that it was indeed a lynx.
No.
And I was
The
just
noises they make.
I was so amazed
No.
because they're so difficult to see. And I was just in awe because they're like, in northern Minnesota, a lynx is the most difficult animal to find. So I was just like weeping.
Doesn't mean they're not around you, which is horrifying.
They're around.
Bro, they be killing bunnies left and right.
Yeah, great.
Watch your chickens, dude.
Great gray owls. Saw those. Silent ghost hunters of the forest. Amazing.
Why do they fly silently?
Because they...
It's horrifying.
But-
Have you ever seen that video where they mic up all those birds flying and then they show the...
Girl. What? There's an owl on my arm.
Of course she is. She's like, I've run that experiment myself.
I teach children about flight sounds by using a feather from one species of bird, which I shall not name on this podcast, and another species of bird that I shall not name on this podcast, because you can hear the difference with a single feather.
Really?
Yeah. And there's a lot of reasons why they fly silently, but
it's just the hunter of it
right.
all.
So if they're
But
primarily
it's so when you see and hear like the direct comparison.
And diurnal owls are not as silent as nocturnal owls. Their wings are not as quiet.
Oh.
So like snowy owls make more wing noise because they live where for half the year it's light all the time.
But like them big old ones I got in my yard when I
Your
saw
barred owls are perfectly silent.
When I saw it fly off, I don't know if it was a bunny or a squirrel, but it was something that made a horrible sound.
That would be a bunny.
And that was the only sound I heard. There was no flapping.
Oh no.
It was so big I thought it was a coyote because it was on the ground. I came outside on my back porch and I saw it take off from the ground.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And it sits on my flagpole on my shed.
Oh, so cool.
Because Joel's like, I've come out there and then I just hear the wah, 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 wah,
of the
wah.
pole.
And it's like, what else is that big that is going to do that?
Yeah.
It's a big pole
Yeah.
on there. And it just...
See? Owls are another really great reason to go outside.
Yeah. And I feel like it's the things we learned along the way.
It is.
Where it's the things you find while you're looking for the thing.
Yes.
You know?
And
are the best bits.
And when you go outside and you're doing things in the outdoors and you get that like weird, almost like rabid excitement where you're like, why am I so excited about this? Like, why am I so jazzed? You need to follow that, right?
Oh, absolutely.
That's the thing, right? That's the thing. And you are allowed to have more than one. Okay?
You can have a million.
You don't have to be just a birder, just a gardener, just a moth enthusiast, just a person that gets rocks, just a person that likes mushrooms. You can be all of those things. And don't you let a single fucking person tell you that you can't. Because they will.
Well,
and this is my number one gripe.
Those people suck.
They do.
Are we talking about mushroom bros?
We're talking about the kind of people that no matter what you do, you cannot win if you haven't gone in your tent on the, on the worst weather of the blah, 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 and you haven't seen that bird? Oh, you don't know how do I do that? Oh, you don't. You know what?
I have no respect for these people.
No, and why should you? Anybody
They're
that makes
worst.
Anybody that makes a person that's trying to enthusiastically tell you a story about the cardinal they saw in their backyard feel like their story is shit is not worth my time.
Not at all.
No. And I have witnessed this in the outdoor space that I spent a lot of time working in. People who will discount your enthusiasm, claim that you are too naive or too inexperienced or you don't know what you're doing.
It's just gatekeepy bullshit.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so
people do that with the boundary waters and stuff.
All
where
the
it's
time.
like, oh, you've only been to Sawbill? You haven't been to the boundary waters. You haven't portaged into Canada.
The time.
And I'm like,
well, you haven't done the Quetico? Oh, okay, bitch.
Yeah. It's like, leave me alone.
Go by yourself.
Right. And a beautiful butterfly.
There's not going to be any dandelions by the time you go there. And spoilers, there's pitcher plants on the way out of Sawbill.
Like, for real. I don't get the mentality of those people.
And it's just,
what are you helping? What cause are you helping?
It's low self-esteem that we
you
bolster.
want to be the only cool one who has a cool story about anything.
Yeah.
Where it's like, in reality, you're the worst person at the party,
and,
dude.
And
everyone's waiting for you to fucking leave.
Yep, those people will always tell you have to have the most expensive gear. You're not doing
the
it
advice.
Right. Yep.
Of
if
those
your
people.
jacket isn't Arc'teryx, you don't belong outdoor. You know what? Fuck off.
My canoe is older than I am, and it works fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Leave me alone.
So don't.
My life jacket is also a seat.
Right? I can sit on it and
Holds
float.
down.
Mm-hmm. Take that.
Like,
yeah. Now, again, conversely,
yeah.
Is there anything wrong with upgrading? Like, if you figure out, like, let's say you were a kid that didn't go camping, right? Mm-hmm. Or you didn't have any experience, and now you've grown up, and you're like, I want to try it, right? Yeah. And you're like, I'm going to do this in a stepwise motion, right? Sure. How do you want to camp? Do you want to go tent camping? Do you want to get a camper? Do you want to rent something? Yeah. Do you want to go to a camp, like a group camp or a family camp? Like, there are so many ways to do it. Yeah. Rent a camper cabin in a state park.
Glamping.
All of we live in a world of marvels. There's so many
possibilities.
Ways. Oh, man. All of them are valid. There's not a single thing about you going out and having an adventure that you find enjoyable that should be shamed. There's no part of it.
Period. fucking period.
Yep. And that includes you want to go on a hike. If it's not, this much elevation and this, I hiked 11 miles. Okay. Good. I'm glad. And if you are that enthusiastic, good. If you went out and did 6 blocks in the woods and you had a great fucking time, good. Those are equally valid.
The side eyes I get when I wear my wellies out
People,
hiking.
yeah.
You're hiking in those. I'm like, my feet get wet.
Don't tell me.
They're comfy.
Are you
and they keep my feet dry.
Yeah, are you wearing my boots?
Yeah. Are you me? Are you in my body?
Yeah. Then mind your business.
For real.
Mm-hmm.
Like the people but I will say, on the other side of it.
Yeah.
We have met, even you and I together, but
Yeah.
I know separately as well, the kindest, most just curious strangers.
Oh, yeah.
To when we were harvesting fiddleheads.
Oh, it was so adorable.
And that couple came up to us and what are y'all doing?
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you.
And you know what's so interesting is
Love that.
when they first walked up, what was your immediate reaction?
Oh my God.
Like,
I was like, they're going to say some shit right now.
Yep.
I will say, fully prejudged.
I did.
Their vibe.
Yep.
They had the poles.
Yep.
They didn't have no cross country skis.
No.
They were walking.
I call them bug sticks.
They were walking poles.
Yeah. Which, no shame in the game.
No, and I was fully, but I was like, there's
when
some
someone approaches you,
uppity quats.
that
Sorry.
that
they on the trails.
like that directly, where they're like walking and then they turn.
Yeah,
I'm
and
like,
we were like off the trail.
We
a little
were.
bit. And they were like,
Yep.
yeah, hello.
And they walked right up to us and we're like, what are you doing? And my gut was like,
we're both like squatting on the
like,
ground. I believe I had kitchen shears, and I was like,
yeah. And I had a bag with some mushrooms in it.
I'm wearing
I was
track pants.
You did.
What?
But
we came here to look at pelicans.
Yeah, and in that moment, we did.
Yeah.
In that moment, there's the choice of like, am I going to be like, mind your business, or am I going to go, oh, we're harvesting fiddlehead ferns, and that's what we ended up doing.
Mm-hmm.
And they were so genuinely, and the husband was like,
he was like flabbergasted.
He was like, you what?
What?
And we explained what they were.
You can eat them?
Yeah. And then he went through the full range of emotions.
He did.
Like
the stages of death.
Disgust. Then there was some disgust.
Yeah.
And then it moved to curious fascination.
Yeah.
But his
like,
wife was
I'll
like, what?
Oh, she was into it.
How do you do
Fully
it?
into
How
it.
do you know? What do you do? And so we explained the basics to her, and we were like, this is a lucky find because this is very late. Like,
and they were good, like tight curled ones.
And it was like, we weren't expecting to find these. Yeah. And so we're just very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
We're just harvesting. And it was great.
Even she was like, yeah, if I had a little bag, I'd take some. But they were in their little...
They were
in
their
little walking outfits.
They were in a mode.
But that kind of goes to, what do you bring with you?
Gear, yeah.
Your gear.
Yeah.
Preparedness.
Gear.
You see my little segue there.
That was good. I'm not gonna deny the skill. So I have over the years worked on basically what is like my kit, right?
Yeah.
And my friends know you, shout out Amory, that sometimes I just, spontaneously I'm like, I'm gonna go do this thing without any of my shit.
Yeah.
And
I have pockets.
Does it go well? No. Almost never, in fact. So here is what I would bring, and you don't have to go crazy with spending money, okay? What you do need to do is understand the season that you're in and the weather of your locality for safety purposes.
Absolutely.
You need to understand how to keep yourself comfortable and how to keep yourself safe are the two big things. So here in the upper Midwest, things to think of include sun protection, if it's, all season sun protection. Mm-hmm. So I have a series of hats.
You got some good ones.
They get more animated as I get older, actually.
I just finished my wood burned one
from
our hat class that I missed.
That's all right.
But my friends brought me the supplies.
I got to finish mine because I had to get out of there. It was a nightmare. The teacher was wonderful.
Talk about the uppity whites.
I think the Commodore calls them wine mommies.
Oh,
I think.
I I hate to say this, kind of glad.
Okay.
I was.
So
we have agreed, Sarah and I, and Jess, if you're watching, we share this
we
as
know
well.
that you are.
The South Park bail. Just whenever
Bail.
It's like an unwritten rule in all of our friendships, right? Where it's like someone's not up to something, you know, we don't have the energy, we're not feeling it that day, we've had a crazy day at work, whatever. Bail.
Yep.
Just bail.
Yep.
Bail. And that was one of my days where I was just like, you know what, guys, I fucking can't. Bail. I can't. Love you so much.
And as soon as anyone South Park bails, that's it.
Yeah,
that's it. And
because we all have our times.
Yep.
Right.
And we all know, like, oh nope, she called a bail.
Like, love you so much.
Yep.
But y'all were telling me about that damn cat class, and I was just like,
the amount of times I
would have gotten into a fight.
You would have.
So I'm glad I wasn't there.
When I tell you,
I would have yelled
that our beloved friend shoulder checked a bitch in the hallway.
You don't fuck with Florida, dude. A Florida Scorpio, man. Who's a Slytherin?
You are a Slytherin. I love you so much.
I mean, she got little bitty feet and hands, but she's
Kaboom!
real tall.
Right in this
I don't want a shoulder.
No. And the amount of times where I was like working on something and fully went like at her because there were, and it was all women.
Mm-hmm.
There was no ambiguity there of any kind. My hair was commented on just for having a not natural hair color. Yeah. That's so creative. And I was like, uh-oh, red flag. And I was like, thank you. Ew. Okay. And she was like,
it's that backhanded, like, oh my, I love how you can just like get up and wear anything. It's that backhanded, weird compliment.
You look so comfortable.
Ew.
What?
Get out of my face.
And the Commodore,
hate that
Commodore would be like, "That was such a nice thing for them to say." I'm like, "You don't understand.
Honey, you ain't reading the room. No. The subtext of the subtext
like,
of
you don't understand.
Girl language is different, bro. No,
I'm like, oh, I'm ready to the bitch.
You're like, no, I see these hoes for who they are. Okay. No, I would have gotten to a fight.
Yes,
because you said they were disrespecting the teacher, which I not. This is a girl who's trying to put her art out there.
And was doing a class and was put in a very difficult position because the room that she had rented for this class, total sidebar, not about outdoors. Yeah. Was really terribly lit to the point where you couldn't identify colors accurately.
Oh no.
And
yeah, that where it was held,
about.
It is not the best. I mean, it's very like you're having a drink with friends lighting.
It's not, And I don't think
I don't want to see what you look like lighting.
No. You don't want to see. So you would have to go into the hallway to get actual light to see the color that you were working with on the hat. And then
that's unfortunate.
There was wood burning tools so that you could burn the hat.
Which is interesting in that environment.
Right, but there's no ventilation in that environment.
That's why.
Also,
I wear a mask when I wood burn.
Yeah.
Because also, y'all wear wood burning felt hats.
Yeah. And on top of that.
Which has glue.
Yeah.
And wax on it.
And on top of that, for those that weren't comfortable freehanding, there was a technique to make a pattern. And so, like, when the teaching was going on, she couldn't explain to us that if we felt competent freehanding that we could.
Yeah.
Because the people in the class were so disrespectful and would not stop talking. And that is one of the biggest... I'm like, ma'am, you are 44 years old.
Gross.
Stop talking. You paid money to be here, and the expert who is explaining to you how to do the thing cannot hear.
Oh, I would have gone full my mom on that.
Yep. And I was like, and Jess was like, oh. And I'm like, I can't hear her. Can anyone else not hear her?
Yeah.
And she was like, thank you. And I went, yeah, you're welcome.
Aww. I feel so bad for that gal.
And
it's
she
like
was
you're
great.
putting yourself out there with your art. You're trying to do a thing.
Yeah.
Like I went to a similar thing with my mom making soaps
and
stuff, but it's just good luck trying to do that with my mom in the room. Good luck. She's gonna be like, I'll volunteer. I'll do the thing. Let's see how it's done. Like it's about her. It's her show now. But if anyone's disrespecting that that gal trying to do her thing, she's gonna clock you immediately.
The worst part.
She ain't gonna have it.
The worst part, and then we can move on.
Yeah.
Is that there was a person in this class. So we're talking like, are you familiar with that SNL skit where they have big dumb hats?
Yes.
Yeah. So it was those hats, right? And I knew, and I was like, I'm here for a big dumb hat, right? Like, I want to rock a big dumb hat.
Oh, absolutely. We're going to church.
Yeah, and I would burn a snake on that shit, and I'm gonna.
We're going to what's that thing with the horses?
Kentucky Derby.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Those hats, but
it's a big hat.
Very that.
So, and you could bling this thing up. There were charms and
you
ribbons,
got me feathers, a lovely
you could
little
go,
piece of fabric.
Yeah, you
tie
could,
it in a bow.
She had brands, so you could put a brand on your hat. It was very cool.
I ended up putting like runes and shit on mine. Like, I love the idea.
Very
of this.
cool. But one of the participants, no joke. All right, here's her big dumb hat. Okay, she puts on a ribbon that's like, how do I describe this? It's like it was paisley. Okay, which fine. I'm here for the bohemian.
Paisley, yeah.
But it had like a big. She couldn't figure out how to finish the ribbon off, so she had tied it in the back and left like 2 tails, which was okay.
It's like a little knot.
But she also had cards, like playing cards that she had tucked in the brim, and then she had 3 feathers.
3,
and they were like they were like pheasant tail feathers, so they were like 9 inches long.
Girl, this ain't fried green tomatoes.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
So this girl had made
we got at the saloon.
This girl had made a pimp hat. Okay,
oh,
it was.
That's what I mean.
And
you know that little bar of fried green tomatoes
yep.
where they play the poker. That's what I'm thinking.
And I saw the hat and I went, who? And Miss Jessica.
And this is the bitch not paying attention.
Yeah, Miss Jessica looks at me and goes, oh. And she was like, yeah, but I see it. She just said, I see it. I see it, girl.
I see it.
And she was like, you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine.
Oh my God.
I'm keeping it together. And then the woman is...
The way I could not control my face.
So, I didn't do a good job. She will tell you I was not on my best behavior that night.
No.
And that woman sat down and had a tantrum. Like, that the entire room, like, I just don't know what to do. And the teacher was like, can I help you? And walked up to her like an elementary teacher dealing with a frustrated first grader.
It's the weaponized incompetence.
I just can't. And
no, you don't want to, babe.
Yep.
You can't tie a bow.
Yep.
You're 45 years old. You can't tie a bow.
Yep. And she was like, okay, what's frustrating you?
Yeah.
And trying to talk her through it.
We're gentle parenting.
Yep. And she was doing great.
in a bar and grill.
Yep. She was doing great. I'm like, there ain't enough drinks. We already didn't have drinks because when we tried to get our drinks, that same woman and her friends physically blocked the bar. And then the bartender only served her because I don't think he thought we were paying customers. I won't get mad at him. It wasn't his fault.
I would have gotten to a fight.
Yeah, we almost
would not
did.
have been good. No, because you didn't need a fire sign up in that.
No.
Up in that.
Then when the teacher said, "Oh, I think that looks great," she said, "You have terrible taste," to the teacher. And that is when I looked at Miss Jess and said, "And I need to walk away."
I would have keyed her car.
You don't do that to other people.
I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate that so much.
Mm-hmm. So this is me in full judgment mode. And now I'm going to return to outdoor rec gear.
I'm going to cut us real quick. So we can keep our cameras going. Bam.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Well, I got that hat story out of the way.
Jesus Christ.
I
mean,
it
needed to happen.
I needed to air that.
We needed to air that.
Oh my God. It's been eating away at my soul.
We're not calling them out by name, but in spirit. We see you.
I see you.
We're disappointed.
I'm very disappointed.
I wasn't even there. The voice memos you were sending me on the way home.
Just like, I tell you,
Girl.
we had a good time.
Yeah.
But rarely do I leave a class where I'm socializing with a friend and have anger, right? Like, not at my friend.
Right.
I was just
at the situation.
Just fully like, why am I drained? I shouldn't be drained.
It's like we've left other things together, like when we went to the library,
Yeah,
and we were all like intellectually stimulated,
this
and we
is
were like,
good.
I'm thinking new ideas about things that academia, art, my life, like
challenging perceptions, challenging
where it's like we can have that, or people are just
or a
shitty,
a pimp hat,
a pimp hat on a shitty gal,
wine mommy,
so,
yeah. Also, I like wine,
so I mean, with your gear, you have your hats.
So make sure
we were talking bugs.
Yep, sun protection.
You have some real good tick spray.
Yes, so
that we used when we were venturing through the woods.
So again, make sure you have sun protection, aka a hat, and then bug protection, and that can be if you're venturing out peak summer.
Yeah,
and where we live, ticks are an issue now all the time. Just pulled a tick off a family dog last week.
The vet, literally before the snowstorm, already in March, told us to put tick stuff on our
the
dog.
meds.
She was like, get it on, get it going.
Yeah.
She's like, next week we're going to be in 60 degrees again.
Yeah.
She's like, they'll be out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Don't get fleas, man.
Yeah. And so you don't want ticks.
No.
You do not want ticks. So.
Oh, I hate pulling them off the dog is rough. Pulling them off yourself. You ever have an old school person pull a tick off you?
Yeah.
How'd they do it?
Well,
Curious.
So, a couple different ways.
Okay.
Right? So, back in the day, as a child, if I got a tick, if my dad was getting the tick, he would just, like, dig in there and try to get it by the head and just, like, rip her off, or would, like, use a tweezers and try to pop it out.
Yep.
That's really all I ever dealt with. And sometimes it would work, sometimes it would not.
My grandfather, an older generation, would take a book of matches out.
Would burn the tick?
Light the match, blow it out while the match is still hot.
Singe the tick?
Singe it off. It causes it to come back out. Throw it in the fire in the living room. Because we'd go out in the fields, right? So my grandpa, he had steer, and he would have, like, bulls and cows and shit. And we'd be out there like, ha, 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 just running through long grass and stuff. And he had a lot of habitat. He had a lot of, like, cars and stuff on the, as you do. Any country person, there's old cars everywhere. We'd make forts in them. That's how I got sprayed by a skunk. Twice. But
so fun.
No, tomato baths, oatmeal, terrible. Hated it. No one wanted to be around me. It stunk.
And it burns.
I was
Nobody
like,
tells you
look
that.
at the kitties. Was not.
They're so cute, though.
Oh my God, little babies. And then the mom's like, no.
And the babies are friendly. That's the problem. They're like, my friend. And they run to you, and then the mom, she gets you.
Horrifying. But ticks also. But he'd do a matchbook. And anytime we ever got, and I've told this story to people, and they're like, "Do what the fuck?" But he would do a match, blow it out. It's not like he's putting fire, and it wouldn't be like hot on us. But he put it on like the ass out, and he's like, "Yeah, it makes the pincers go in, and then you pop them out." He'd put them in the fire pit in the living room.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so fun fact.
That's one.
That's why I'm like, interesting thing. Where I'm like, I don't know if it's just like hits their little tush and like, ha. And it like causes them to retract.
It might
or something.
I don't know the facts.
It would always work. I mean, obviously, I don't have like
the only
ticks infested in me
old
right
school
now.
Other like bloodsucker would be leeches.
Leeches.
Hate
them.
I have a really horrifying leech story.
Give me the Brimleys, man. Okay. Don't like them.
So one time, we had
band camp. Sorry. Can I make you feel old for a second? You know the redhead in American Pie?
Oh, I do.
She just turned 50 today.
You mean Willow?
5-0. R.I.P. 5-0.
Oh.
She got shot. Willow.
Tracks giving my age. Actually, now that I think about it.
Isn't that wild?
I don't like it.
It's thinking of the fact that I'm older than the entire cast of Friends for the first like 4 or 5 seasons grosses me out.
What?
They were all supposed to be 26 in season 1.
Oh, no. No. They were 45.
Get out of here.
No.
I'm like 26.
Did you see Chandler's pants? R.I.P.
Oh. Could there be any more? I don't know. Love him so much.
You know who his stepdad was?
No.
Keith Morrison from Dateline. Yeah.
What? What?
Matthew Perry's stepfather.
Never knew that.
Yeah.
I loved
Now
him.
you know.
I loved him so much.
I know. That was a sad one.
I know.
We're all over the place
hit
this
me.
episode. Ticks.
But for
Matthew
real,
Perry.
R.I.P.
Oh my god.
But you got to be prepared. So you got to have your sprays, your
Yes.
hats, some protection.
Yep.
I know you do like a little netting sometimes
so we
on
have,
the head.
if we're out during, obviously mosquitoes, of course.
Yeah.
But the real killer of hikers and outdoor recreators where we are horseflies.
Bro.
Oh,
the
when
bites.
I tell you, and they are aggressive, and when they're hitting
They're
your
humongous.
head, and they're smacking you in the face. So a
You
bug net,
feel it.
oh
It's
my
like,
god,
boom.
and they are aggressively attacking you.
Yeah.
So a bug net is important, and also I had a friend. I don't know what it was. It was like something adhesive, like that she would put on the top of her hat, because when they land on it, it was like a bug trap. But she would put it on the top of her hat, and they're like, and they get stuck on
like
it.
little Sims
Yeah,
thing.
yeah. And they would stick to it, and then they wouldn't get her. Yeah, I was like, that's brilliant.
Fly.
So,
I like that. I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, and she does a lot of field work. So
Genius?
it is. It is genius. So bug net, which is super inexpensive, you can get, one for like
you can get them at the dollar store, Menards.
Yeah, for like a couple bucks.
Yeah.
And hot tip, if you think you're just gonna put it over your bare head, you're gonna feel like you're suffocating and dying.
Yeah, don't do that.
Also,
Just full plastic bag.
I'm
I'm protected.
Full disclosure. If you're hiking in a very hot temperature and you have your bug net over your face and you keep hiking and you leave the bug net over your face when it's very hot and you think it's not impacting the temperature around your face, you're wrong. And you're going to get heat exhaustion.
And
you're
how do you
gonna
know this?
Well, I vomited for quite a long time in a campground surrounded by strangers while I hallucinated that I was catching an alligator and that I had a full text message conversation with a person about said alligator and how we were going to catch it.
Did you think you were in Brainerd?
Maybe. And it got so bad. And here's the thing. I was there on a writing assignment and the Commodore left, bless him, to get my content for me because could I move?
Oh, yeah.
No.
Didn't you do like the whole little trail?
Yeah. He biked like a 10-mile trail and took film and B-roll for me.
Such a petunia.
Yeah.
That man.
And I started getting sick after our 6.5-mile hike that we had finished. And I was like, hey, I can tell, like when I was sitting in the air conditioning of the car and drinking cold water and it wasn't getting better, I knew I was screwed.
Did you stop sweating?
I was cold and clammy. And I was like, oh no.
Not great.
Again, hydration.
Yo, get your Nalgene.
Get your water bottle and then double your water bottle. Because if you think one Nalgene is going to do it for you, you might as well get that second one.
You ever judge those camel pack people?
I used to. Until the vomiting in the campground and the alligator hallucinations.
You're like, now I have one.
When he came back, he thought I was dead.
That's not great.
So apparently I had given up at that point because I had run out of fluids. Okay. Out. Gone. They're gone.
My body was done
And
for.
so apparently, and I don't remember this at all. I don't have any memory of this. When he came back to the campground, I was on the picnic table. Like I was sitting on the bench, but I was like, if you're listening, you're not going to be able to get this. But just imagine a dead body laying on a picnic table. I was fully
Imagine a dead person.
Yeah, I was fully like this. Like unconscious on the table.
No.
Here's the kicker.
It's so horrifying to see your partner. Like
I was surrounded by people. Like
no one was like, are you okay?
not a single person.
Fuck those people.
Yep. And
No.
this was the kicker. So
don't want to get involved.
when you're camping, and we were camping, we were tent camping, okay? And we had gotten a campsite in a state park, which has pros and cons. If you like solitude, don't camp in a state park. They're busy and full.
No.
Even if you get the rustic sites, there's people there. If you have to do it for convenience because you're on a writing assignment and there's nowhere else to camp, fine.
Yeah.
We got there. The person that had used the campsite before us had emptied their black water tank from their RV in the woods next to the campsite. If you don't know what that is,
did not.
it's a tank of poo.
Poo. Human poo.
It was 90 degrees. And I was like,
oh no.
I don't know what to do. I
Oh,
don't know what to
no.
do. Mm-hmm. The smell was horrifying.
Yeah.
It was, and I was like, what do we do here? There was literally no more campsites. And Craig was like, here's the deal. It's not by our tent. We're
Okay.
only here for we're only going to be
One
here for one night.
Okay.
Can we handle this? And I was like, we can. So we set up our
Breathe
tent.
through your mouth.
Yep. We set up our tent. And he's like, okay, we can do this, right?
Fuck. I didn't know that aspect of the story.
Yep, it was awful. We settle in for the night, and we're trying to sleep, right?
Yeah.
And it's 11:30 at night, and all of a sudden, we hear like a giant pickup truck come ripping into the campground with their high beams on, and then begin to set up a fully huge RV with like their full family at 11:30
I'm sorry,
at
at what
night.
time? At 11:30?
Yeah. So I don't know how they got in the park.
check-in,
Yeah,
Jack.
I don't know how they got in the park. B, they kept their high beams on. So
no, they did
so
not.
they were so powerful that the people tent camping next to us, I could see their shadows in our tent. And so
Like, I can see what they doing in their tent,
when their
man.
heads were like, huh, huh, and they both popped up, I was like,
No.
this is not good.
That's why I go off season.
Yes.
Or to KOAs that no one fucking goes
Yep.
to.
So again, don't be afraid to call it. Okay.
Oh my God.
There's no
I've done
shame
that.
in the game.
Been there.
Yep.
Where it's just like, hey, guy, my back hurts. We're
Yep.
sleeping on the ground.
Yep.
I'm old.
Mm-hmm. I'm not comfortable.
Not this.
If it starts pouring rain. And
Or lightning thunderstorm.
Yeah.
Remember when we had that crazy thunderstorm, lightning storm a couple years ago, took down all those trees?
oh yes.
We lost power
Mhm.
at our house for a week and a half.
Yeah, you
so
did.
we were like, what are we going to do? Go to the Boundary Waters.
Yeah.
We're like, let's take vacation. We don't have power anyway. We go there. I don't know if you recall, in the Boundary Waters,
I do.
R.I.P. the Boy Scouts,
Yeah.
you know.
That was bad.
But we went there, and we're in the tent,
It was terrifying.
and the trees, giant trees, are going like this. Just
I
all
have
over the
made
place.
it through one huge thunderstorm in the Boundary Waters, and
It's
I was so
terrifying.
scared. I was so scared. And the Commodore was like, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. There's nothing we can do except for ride it out.
And
We cannot leave. No one can come get us. And I was
that's
like,
what Joel kept saying. I have the opposite response where I'm like, I need to talk out the anxiety and the crazy. I'm like, what if this happened? What if this happened? He's like, stop saying that. Why? Stop. And it was just like, I want to go home. It was not my favorite trip
yep.
to said Boundary Waters. You know, so if you're feeling unsafe,
Yep.
if you're feeling not great,
Yep. You need to take
Call
care
it.
of yourself. Because
change what you're doing.
I consider myself experienced
Yeah.
in being outdoors, and I got heat exhaustion and was so sick that I couldn't help the Commodore clean up our campsite and just had to lay in the car. And then he
You
drove
were down for the count.
Yep, he drove us the 4.5 hours straight home. At which point I sat in our shower with an Nalgene bottle and just sat there and didn't move for 45 minutes under cold water.
No.
And he was like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yes." And then I crawled up to our bed and didn't move for the next 15 hours.
Oh, you were done.
So that could have gotten, and he was like, "Do you need to go to the hospital? Like, I should bring you to the hospital." I'm like, "Nope, I don't." And he was like, "I don't know if your judgment's sound. You thought there was an alligator." And I'm like, "It's gone
Pretty
now."
sure you were hallucinating.
Yeah, it's gone now. So like, safety, and also I've been in the Boundary Waters where 30 minutes into setting up my campsite, I cut my hand open.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Commodore was like, "Oh my God, do we need to go?" And I looked at it, and for a second I thought about it, and I was like, "No, we have a first aid kit.
Mhm.
I can deal with this.
Yeah.
And I have my gloves because I brought gloves for paddling because calluses.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I will bandage it and put a glove on it, and we can assess it in the next hour to 2 hours and see how it goes. And if I feel fine, let's stay. And if I feel like we need to go, we can go because there was enough daylight for us to go.
And it's all with your own comfort level.
Yep.
Right.
And you need, sometimes you will make mistakes It doesn't matter how experienced you are. It doesn't matter how many times you've been out. I have made so many mistakes. I have gotten injuries. I have dropped my stuff and lost it. I have, like not brought my water bottle. I have not brought my bug spray. I have not brought my bug net. I have sprinted through the forest at a full run. I wore the wrong
socks.
Yep.
Now I got blisters.
Yep. It's just part of the experience. And so like...
And live and learn.
Yeah. And don't beat yourself up. Like if you...
Oh, sorry. That was my phone.
That's okay.
I was like, what was that?
What does that say?
Yeah.
If you feel like you're like, I didn't have the best time of my life every second I was there, or like, I'm uncomfortable, I'm not outdoorsing the right way, you're doing fine.
Oh my God. If you're doing it, you're doing it.
You're doing it.
Like, it's just taking that step outside, getting the sun on your face. I don't care if you're in your own yard.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're on the stoop of your house and you're looking at a bird at the tree, like in the sidewalk, you know? It's just pushing yourself on that first step to get out.
Yes.
Is the biggest hurdle.
Yes.
Then you can start worrying about, okay, what gear do I need? What mindset? What kind of people do I have to look out for? The Trekkie, and people with the poles.
And there are ways that you can get the stuff that you need without spending brand new.
Absolutely.
Yep. And so a lot of times you can look for things like gear exchanges or gear swaps. Mm-hmm. So in our town, we have a couple different college campuses, and on an annual basis, they have gear sales and gear swaps. There are companies that have like scratched and dented sales. One that I have my eye on is I really want a paddleboard. And I've never, so like I want to try paddleboarding. I've never done it.
It's hard.
I'm not really gifted with the balance. It's not a...
We're learning. We're trying.
I've sprained my ankle 12 times.
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christos. 12 times?
12.
That's a lot of time.
It's just flopping. Oh, sorry. It's just a rubber band now.
Got weak old little bones.
It's bad.
She needs some milk. 12 times.
I can't drink milk.
Maybe start like on your knees or something.
Right. So I can, but I've done a lot of stuff I've done crazy stuff.
Oh God,
right?
yeah.
In the outdoors.
You've trained and shit.
I've done stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't feel delusional enough to think that I'm going to be good.
You're like
at
surfing.
Paddleboarding. No. Oh my God.
One of those dudes with the ice beards, your hair.
That is pretty baller. But it's not me.
No. But you could do it.
I want to try paddleboarding. And here, there's a lot of ways to paddleboard. There's multiple like companies that rent them. Mm-hmm. There's companies that do guided paddles. Like we were supposed to do one last summer and then it got canceled because of weather and I was so sad. It was a full moon paddleboard experience where they take you out, and I had called and talked to them and they were like, you don't need to know anything. You just need to wear a swimsuit and that's it. Like, that's it. And I was like, I can do that. Yeah. I can wear a swimsuit. And so like, that's one of the goals that I want to do this year. Yeah. Last year, we decided to finally invest in kayaks. So this year, I want to like double the number of times I go out in kayak because we have so many places. We're so lucky. There's so many places to paddle. And by the end of last year, I had made a goal. Like, I want to be able to get my kayak out, load it on the rack, get it down, take it out, and load it back up on my own, like without help. And I did that, and I was able to do that, which was super cool. I was exhausted and figured out right away, I need a stool.
There you go.
Because I'm 5'4". So,
a little bitty.
I can't reach.
I got little arms.
Little arms. Little arms.
But it's true.
Yeah. They're short.
So, but you still did it.
I did it.
You're just like, I need a new tool.
Yep.
What can I get to make this easier?
I did tell the Commodore this year I need to invest in like a sturdy, collapsible metal stool or some kind of stool that I can throw in the back of the car.
And just keep in there.
Yep.
That's the car's stool.
That's the car's stool. Mm-hmm. That's where it lives.
Then you don't have to search for it or try to wrangle it. Oh, shit, I forgot it. It's just in there.
It's in there. And that would be my strongest recommendation. During the season that you want to go out and do things. Yeah. It's like anything. If you know, like, I want to go for a walk, or I want to go work out, or I want to paint, or I want to read, if all of your stuff is packed away where you can't get it, the likelihood that you're going to do it goes down and down and down. If you have your stuff where you can find it, and we get better at this every year. Right now, our stuff is a disaster. But in the next 4 weeks, the stuff needs to be not a disaster. Where is my bug spray? Where is my Nalgene bottle? Where is my bug net? Where is my sunscreen?
Yeah.
Where are my hiking boots? You know, like, do I have everything set?
Yeah.
And
Can it all live in a tote?
Yep. And we put together an adventure pack.
Yeah.
So we have like two go-to backpacks that always have like, I always have a knife. Because, you know.
You need a knife.
So,
sure.
The knives are always in one or the other. I actually bring with like a lighter.
Yeah.
Because you never know. A lighter, and then I have a, I don't know what's it called, like to start a fire starter.
Flint?
It's like a flint. It's like a flint, but it's something else.
It have that little edge on it that you scrape. Yeah. We got one of those.
So
it's
I bring
on
that
a Leatherman.
because the Commodore likes to bring me out into inclement weather to practice making fires.
You've sent me pictures of these.
Yeah. Is it raining? Make a fire. Is it snowing? Make a fire. Can you not find wood? Make a fire.
Is he out there with fucking duct tape? Like Naked and Afraid?
We do watch a lot of
It's the best fire starter.
He shames the duct tape. But, fun fact, when we were birding up in the Saxon Bog, one of the naturalists up there was trying to start a fire, and everything was really wet. And he was like, will this help? Birch bark. Dried in his pocket in case of an emergency.
So smart.
When he needed to start a fire.
See, and if I did that in front of Joel, hives.
Because he's allergic.
Allergic to birch, my husband.
Right.
Bless him.
My husband smells birch trees for fun.
He just...
I have witnessed it. It's like this.
I mean, they do smell good.
Yeah.
Maybe that's his thing.
It's his thing.
It's his moth.
It's his moth. It's his Everest.
It's his stick teepee in the woods.
It is.
He sees a birch tree.
Right up there. Just into it.
All the things.
Which is what developed our chaga mushroom obsession. So, again, these things can coincide together. You have to take steps to prepare yourself so that you're more likely to do the thing you want to do. If you're adding obstacles like, I don't have time, I don't want to do it, I'm not good at it, I'm not in shape, my body doesn't look like it, you can tell yourself that all day.
Oh, yeah. That'll stop you from doing anything.
It has stopped me way more times in my life than I care to admit when I say, I am too big, I am not athletic enough. Yeah. I don't look that way. My clothes don't look that good. I'm not going to look good in my swim gear. I'm going to be sweaty. I'm going to be breathing heavy. I'm not going to make it up the hill. I'm going to be slower than everyone. Okay?
Yeah.
So you're going to just not do the thing.
You're going to regret, and I will say this just from personal experience, you will regret not doing the thing more than the anxiety that you feel potentially for doing it. Like, there are so many times in my life where it's like, oh, I didn't do something because it's like I wasn't feeling some type of way about my body, or it's like I don't want to be in a swimsuit in front of people or whatever.
So many times.
I look back on that and I was like, bitch, you were so small. Why were you living your life? Or
so
also,
many times.
Who cares if that's not the case? Like, there are so many things that we tell ourselves, and I know just like, especially coming from like a woman's perspective, where it's like there's so many things we fucking tell ourselves where we're not gonna do them because someone's thinking about us. The gag is, you think about yourself more than anyone is looking at you. Where it's like, I have like varicose veins, right? Thanks, ma'am. You know, and I'm like, I've talked about so many friends about this where I'm like, I feel very insecure wearing shorts. Where it's like, I've had them since I was 18, even when I was like little skinny mini Brooke. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to be hot in the summer because I'm going to wear pants all the time.
Of my life.
And it's like, again, the gag is, no one fucking cares. No one's looking like, who let her outside?
Oh my God.
Throw a blanket over. Like, and I did that to myself for so long. And I hit this point a couple years ago where I'm like, who cares? Me. That's the only person who's doing it to myself. And it's like, don't let that hold you back from doing the thing.
No.
Like, wear the shorts. Go swimming. Get on the paddleboard. Yes. Go outside. Get sun on your white gams.
Right?
They're the whitest things because they never see the light.
Get them gams out there.
Literally, like, get
and
outside
let me tell
and don't let it stop you.
Let me tell you. When you put shorts on and you rode a bike on a trail, did you not have the most fun?
when I was putting my feet on the handlebars and screaming, second wind!
We made it to fourth wind.
We did.
Because we had some drinks and then decided to
did.
take a bike ride.
That was a very fun afternoon.
It was a fun afternoon.
But where I'm like, I probably would have been miserable if
my
I
God,
was in like
it was
jeans
not
or pants.
cold.
No,
It was quite toasty.
It was like we were sweating.
We were sweating a lot.
Don't. And it's again, it's easy to say right now, being like, don't do that to yourself, because I've been the person where it's like, oh, I hear the thing and you feel all empowered, and then in the moment you're like,
I'm embarrassed.
but I'm still thinking about it.
Yeah.
And you always have that one person who noticed it at one point in your life, and you're like, that's how everyone feels. Everyone sees it.
Yeah.
And for mine, where I'm like, I think about the one time, because everyone has that time about something, whatever it is.
Yep.
Where it's just like, that's what everyone thinks.
Yep.
Everyone. And it's like, people are really, honestly, not that concerned.
No.
And if they are, who cares?
Yeah.
Like, don't let it consume you. That's none of your business.
The vibe.
What they think about you. That's none of your business, babe.
No, it's
don't
not.
do it.
It's not the vibe.
No.
And
don't let that stop you from doing the things and getting outside.
Yep. And it can be informative. So another aspect to that would be jealousy. So I'm sure everyone has dealt with this, but like,
absolutely.
When you see somebody doing something that you want to do outdoors
Mm.
or with art or with whatever, and instead of feeling inspired when you see what they're doing, you feel a wave of that. It's jealousy, but it's also like, ugh, like, and or like, when you
like seething.
Yes. And you shouldn't feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's nothing they're doing that's damaging your life, right? Nothing they're doing is they're not stealing your thunder.
Or that's stopping you from doing anything.
And you're looking at them and you're getting increasingly like, they're on a paddleboard or they're out hiking.
Mm-hmm.
They're hiking in this
look at them
park.
thinking they hot shit.
Mm-hmm.
That I do that all
Yep.
the time. Who do they think they are? And I'm just like, bitch, you're on your couch playing Stardew. What are you doing?
Same. That's something that happens to me, and then I'm like, why am I getting so upset right now? Because I am not doing the things that I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So
you gotta turn that mirror around.
yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Conversely, from the whole like, don't let people tell you have to be super minimalist and you have to have this brand of gear and you have to do it this way and this is the only way. You're going to find that there are ways that work better for you than other ways. For example, I was hiking over by Bayfield, Wisconsin. Shout out.
Love Bayfield.
Yeah. And it was high winter, during last winter.
Oh, Lord.
So the snow was monumentally deep.
12 feet.
Yeah, so we were snowshoeing. And we were snowshoeing to what are called the sea caves, but they're lake caves. But
they're beautiful.
So we were on a hike from the trailhead to the first Apostle Island Sea Cave.
Mm-hmm.
And we had just snowshoed it, and it was long, okay? Like, it's a long hike, and beautiful, but in that kind of snow, after a while, you're like, whoa, I am
feeling
so
it in the
tired.
gams.
Yeah, oh, man.
I need a granola bar.
Yeah, and the trail was very narrow, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, we had invested in these snowshoes. I think they were actually a gift from my mom. Thanks, ma'am. So we were using the snowshoes, and when we came back out, we were just dog tired. Like, oh my God. There were these two youngins who were getting out of their car, and they had snowshoes that made the Commodore go, hey, look at Lewis and Clark over there. And I was like, look at what happened. Oh, those are that's some serious kit. I haven't seen.
Not Lewis and Clark.
I haven't seen snowshoes like that in many a fortnight. And so this lovely girl, like, I mean, fully coiffed, like, hair, and I was like, he was like, what is she doing? Like,
she's sponsored.
There was no part of her outfit that said, I'm going to be comfortable on this hike, right? Oh, gorgeous. And I was like, honey, she's doing it for the gram.
Her sweatpants are designer, babe.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Dress casual? What's that like?
Yeah. And he was like, for the gram. And I went, for Instagram. And he was like, why would you do that? And I went, she's going to hike in 40 feet, get to where it's snowy, set up her shot, and come back. And I was like, set a clock. Let's wait for it. And they hiked in, and we were just eating our granola and sitting there hydrating, and boop, 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 Lewis and Clark came back up. And he was like, those charlatans, the ruse. And I went, but also, ain't no shame in the game. You know, like, if it's working for you. I was like, did she get her exercise? No. Did she pimp some real vintage snowshoes? Sure. You know, like, you do you, right? But sometimes you will find that certain things work better than other things.
Yeah.
Some people will swear by their old snowshoes that they handmade out of deer sinew and, you know, like willow and whatever. I'm here for the ultralight, you know, like crescent moon. Shout out crescent moon snowshoes. Okay?
As we're saying this, I'm like, I can finally break in the ones I got for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have some snow on the ground. I better get it in before it melts.
Yep. You got like 5 days.
Literally, it's going to be 60-some degrees next week.
So you're going to find that, okay, you try something, it doesn't work, you need to change. And that's okay. You can change. And you can also, instead of being minimalist, when you're packing, if you're like, I want to be a person that hikes into the woods and then paints a watercolor. I want to be a person that brings my sketchbook with me. I
literally have this on my list.
Bingo card.
Because one of my mother-in-laws, both lovely, she's gotten very into painting. And I've shown you some of her paintings.
Oh my God, they're beautiful.
Dude, she's Sandy Ross. Like, she's getting it.
Sandy.
Shout out. But her paintings are gorgeous. And one of her big things she wants to do when she moves up, because they're coming up from North Carolina in June. Hey. And we want to get out in nature and paint. So I'm like, I want to have a point where it's like we have a little satchel or like a basket or something, and have like maybe a little easel in there, a little notepad. I feel like watercolor would probably be the easiest in nature. You don't have to mix colors or travel with extra water and cups and plates and paper towels and shit.
Yeah, and get this weird concept that for some reason I never thought of. Go somewhere in nature with water.
Like a brook or a stream.
And then you can just...
A creek.
Shout out again, Anne Marie Genius. The water paintbrushes that you fill with water.
Yes!
Yeah. And now those micro watercolor kits have become very popular. Yeah. And there's a million little magnet easels you can just set up. Also, Gobs, if anybody has a line on one of these, please let me know. I am on the hunt for one of those Swiss medic bags a la World War II, because they make perfect bags to carry your paint.
Talk to my husband.
Joel!
We have multiple.
No.
Did you just say that sentence like that wasn't right up his alley, dude? Are you kidding?
Should have known.
I think they're filled with ammo right now.
Fair.
Yes. We'll hook a girl up. Yeah.
I'm so excited.
You said that, I was like, there's 3 in my bedroom right now.
In case the goblins haven't figured it out, I love Brooke's husband. He's amazing. And I married Walter Matthau. So
Lester Holt.
with Pedro Pascal vibes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So just merge those two together.
Yes.
And you should know this too. That's the vibes. Yeah.
And it definitely helps when you have, whether it's your partner or your friend or someone, to get outside with you and get into it with you. Because, I love doing solo stuff. Sometimes I will go have a date with the lake, as I call it. And I have those more in the summer where I will tell Joel, I'm like, I'll be home in a couple hours.
I'm going out.
I'm taking my tarot cards. I'm getting a Dunn Brothers. I'm getting a coffee.
Yeah.
And I'm going out, and I am going to put a blanket down in the back of my car, and I'm going to sit in the lake, listen to a little music, maybe go pick some rocks. Yeah. Maybe do a solo date. But when you can get out and do stuff with people too, especially if you're gamifying it and you get that little challenge. If you're looking for something, I found a fun one that was
Yeah.
the color wheel challenge.
Oh.
Have you ever heard of this?
I haven't heard of it, but I can guess in my mind what it might be.
Right.
Yeah.
What it might entail. So, an easy thing to do, again, if you're goblins on a budget,
Mm-hmm.
free paint samples.
Oh, it's a
From
great
like
idea.
Menards, you know,
go raid this
Home Depot, what have you. Free paint samples. Get those little papers. Make those like on a little circle board or whatever shape you want, really. And then whatever colors you want. Pick those and then challenge yourself to find that exact color match in nature.
That's pretty cool.
And especially if you're out there with the homies, you know, or with your boo. Like, all right, who can get all the colors on their wheel first? They don't have to be the same ones.
No.
You know, I feel like it'd be more fun that way too if you all have different ones.
That would be more
it's
fun.
Like who can fill it up first or who can get the most at the end of the hike.
Yeah.
Or something.
That's a great one.
And I was like, "Oh, how fun would that be?"
Yeah. Super fun.
I was like, "We should do that.
We should do
that.
That
would be really fun."
I would love that.
And then I was like, the way I would frame it.
I mean,
put it in like a shadow
it
box.
would fully be an art piece.
Are you kidding? Like, because I saw someone who just did like clothespins, and then they dried it to the paint samples too, so they kind of like adhere to it, and then just like hung that up with string, and it was like in a circle, but it had like a flower and a leaf and a fern and like a little thing, and I was like,
It's so cute.
love that idea.
I love that idea too.
And it's like, it's a challenge, it's a game, but also help you're identifying things.
Yeah, there's no
You
part of
know?
it that's bad.
Not at all.
No.
But there's so many little aspects of it.
I love that.
Yeah. Did you have any gamifying ideas out in nature?
So I didn't write any down.
Oh no.
No, I didn't write any down. But I think there's some ways that I like to do it where like we already covered making like a bingo board style or like
Love
a
that.
list, right?
Yeah.
So I'm a big
Full
list
bucket list.
person. Also, like especially if you're from the birding community, listing
The Ornies.
listing is a shout out. Listing is a whole thing, right? So if you're a birder, you can be a birder who lists or a birder who doesn't list or a birder who invents their own lists. And it's like a whole part of it, right? Where there is a complete
Part
list.
of the culture.
It really is.
Yeah.
If you have ever watched the movie The Big Year with Jack Black, Steve Martin, and Owen Wilson,
Oh, I haven't watched it.
it's worth it.
Love all of them.
There's some parts of it that are like, of course, very fictionalized, but it's based on a thing that some birders do, called a big year, where they take an entire year to see as many species of birds in a particular region, or some do a world big year, which is insane.
Oh,
some people do a North America big year, and I
Yeah.
think in that one it was a North American big year, to see how many species that are listed as possible in that continent.
Oh, okay.
And it includes an island that you can no longer access. At the time of the movie, you could access it, and it's off of Alaska. It's like very, very close to Russia.
Okay.
And I have a friend in real life who has been to this island and has birded on this island when it was
No.
still open.
Oh, okay.
And he was like, that is exactly what it's like. Like, you are in an airplane hangar. There's no facilities.
Yeah.
Like, the weather is super volatile. There's only bikes. Like,
Yeah.
it's a whole thing. So, listers, here's the whole list. It's like Pokemon. You got to catch them all. That's the whole point. It's
Oh
just
my
Pokemon.
God.
Yeah.
I
All you're
never
doing.
thought about it like that.
Yeah.
And you guys fucking love Pokemon Go.
Fucking love Pokemon Go.
They're just ornithologists.
They are. And Pokemon
You
Go.
have to catch them. I have never put that together.
Yep. For every kid that collected stickers or played Pokemon or did anything involving collecting
It's the
animals.
new stamp collecting.
It is. It fulfills that need to have a collection because you have seen them.
It's just Neopets.
Mm-hmm. God, R.I.P.
Neopets was the shit.
Getting omelets.
Bro! That's what it is.
Yep, that's what it is. And so you are fulfilling that need in your soul.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. And so anything involving making a list and completing a list, I love.
Love it.
And I do it with everything. So like rocks. No, I have a list of weird rocks I have never found. Different kinds of rocks
What's on
that are
your
possible.
list?
So The
Like shapes or types? What are we
types.
talking
So
here?
like
shapes.
I do
list.
I do like
A
collect,
star.
but like heart rocks. A lot of people collect heart rocks.
Yeah.
So
I got a couple.
yeah, Uberlite is one that's on my list. That's the rock that's over in Michigan that glows under black light.
Oh, where people have that UV
Yeah.
flashlight.
Yep, it's
in
a
the
type
waves
of
and shit.
type of
Yeah.
soda light. So when we were out there, we were just in the wrong spot, and also the people
Hasn't that
that
been picked to
yeah,
death?
because the people that sell it in roadside stands go out and just clean off all the beaches, but you have to go in the
Shysters.
water. And we met this hilarious couple with their young daughter who was like,
Michiganders.
it was October, and that girl went
Ooh,
into the
girl.
lake and
Bless
found
her.
like 13 pieces and
Hell
only
yeah,
took
she did.
2 and threw the rest up on the beach for other people. What a doll, huh?
A
I know,
goblin,
right?
In true form.
Yeah. And
Love
I had this
that.
conversation.
Leave some for others, man. You
Yeah.
don't need all the things.
No, I just want one.
I love that
Yeah.
mentality.
Yep.
That's perfect.
So yeah, Uberlite, copper agates, so agates with copper in them. Those stones, what are the other ones that are in Michigan that are like, I'll have to look it up. They're all formed together and they're a special kind of stone from the UP where Potofsky?
I can see what you're talking about.
Potofsky stones. One of those. Big giant bucket list item that I have never found. Any kind of a shark tooth.
Ooh.
Yeah. Shark tooth. I found fossils before. I found like
That's
fossilized
cool.
fossilized clams and fossilized like flora and fauna inside of rocks and stuff, which is pretty cool. And
That would be cool.
yeah, and then we're creating a list of gems that we can mine after the amethyst adventure. And you know what?
Cut gloves. We talked about that last time.
Cut gloves.
Cut gloves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You don't want accidents to be happening. So gems, places you can mine them, and again, don't worry about being weird, okay? Like, if you want to drive to Canada for 36 hours and eat nothing but ketchup chips, maple cookies, and mine for amethyst, you do it.
Okay, that sounds delicious.
Doesn't sound great?
Did you get poutine?
Oh, yes, I did.
Poutine slaps,
It's
dude.
so good.
Fries and gravy. Get out of here.
So good.
Cheese curds.
Mm-hmm.
Delicious.
It was delicious. Also, Thunder Bay, Ontario has a sleeper food scene.
Yeah.
It's unsuspecting when you go into that town. You look around, you're like, huh. It's
You're
not
like,
what I was
we're in
expecting.
Thunder Bay.
Yeah, there's no tall buildings.
Shocking.
Flat.
Yeah. I mean, Canada be
But
like
has
that.
some of the best damn food.
Really?
Oh my God, so
I
good.
haven't been there in a hot minute.
Yeah, I haven't been there since I was a kid.
Yeah.
But you look at the place and you're like, the largest suspension bridge in all of Ontario. I'm doing that.
Yeah.
And then the Commodore does it bravely. Afraid of heights. Did it.
Is he really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, did it. He was like, I thought I was gonna die, but I did it. And I'm like, hey, you looked cool doing it.
And you face your fear.
Yep.
You know.
I have never regretted it, even when I was still afraid when I was done. Shout out downhill skiing. It just, you know.
I told you about that time I almost hit that damn snow machine.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes
only time
you go
skiing.
outdoors to do your thing, and you
and
discover
it ain't your thing.
it ain't your thing.
It ain't the vibe.
Yep. Not everything is for everyone.
No.
Water skiing, not for me.
I can't stand up.
Did I try? Many times. Did I
You ever
embarrass?
try wakeboarding?
Yep.
The way I just like belly flop.
Stand up jet skiing.
No, man.
There are just some things that are not for me. Again, rollerblading. Not for me. I tried it.
I believe you mentioned
Yeah,
a
and I
rollerblade
think
story you may have
This is a great story, maybe to
close us out.
wrap us up. So as a child, my mother bought us all rollerblades. Again, a splurge, right?
Oh yeah.
Rollerblades with the pads, all the things, right?
Oh, knee, elbow,
And being
wrist guard.
being a goblin mom, she was like, you know where a good place to rollerblade is? Fucking cemetery. There ain't nobody
Love
there,
that.
right?
Love
There's
that.
nobody there. She's like, if we're respectful, we're not going to be like...
I walk my dog in the cemetery by my house all the time. It's beautiful.
Spoilers, we got kicked out because one person said it was disrespectful.
You're just enjoying the day.
We did. We got approached because a person said it was disrespectful that we rollerbladed in the cemetery.
Was it a person who worked there or a person who was grieving?
Unknown.
I have suspicions.
If someone
I'm like,
was...
they have like picnic benches and stuff in cemeteries.
And hey, back in the day, picnicking with the dead was a thing.
It's also like a park. Also, I'm saying hi to them. I'm not like walking on the graves and stuff.
I'm
We're not being disrespectful.
rollerblading by an active funeral.
No.
Okay? Like, hey.
Just like
No.
a family
Yeah, like, whoa, just rolling on through.
sobbing.
Right. No. And just all cheery us.
Yeah.
Like with our Walkman.
But I'm like, that, I feel like that person was probably having a rough day.
We got kicked out.
They were, yeah.
So before we got kicked out, I was rollerblading.
Yeah.
Remember, how many times have I sprained my ankles?
12, I believe she
Am I
said 12.
coordinated? No. Not really. So, does it stop me? No. Have I been injured a lot? Yeah. Yeah, I have. Bitten a lot, injured a lot. So we're rollerblading.
We need bones and bites.
Yeah, bones and bites. My mom was
The B&B, if you will.
My mom was behind me.
Okay.
I was in front. I turned around to say something to my mother.
While rollerblading?
Yeah, just
Are you
like
going downhill at this point?
slight incline.
Okay.
Or a decline. Sorry.
Okay.
I turned and I was like, Mom! Didn't notice that the path curved.
Oh, no.
Okay. Went into the grass.
Okay.
Fully started windmilling my arms. Like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
I can't stop!
Hit something. Kabah! That was in the grass. Flew over it. Cartwheeled like a cartoon. And splatted on a headstone.
Oh, no.
Like
full Wile E. Coyote.
Do you want to know what I tripped over? A baby angel.
A cherub!
That was in the grass. And the grass had grown up over it.
Okay, I will say, maybe this person had a point. You're windmilling on
It was an accident.
Imagine if you, like, broke someone's headstone, though.
I know.
They're probably like, get the fuck out of here.
I tripped on someone's baby angel and then I splatted into a headstone.
Were you okay?
No, I was bleeding all over the
My
place.
God. Rollerblades are dangerous, dude.
So,
Oh, my God.
So my mom, again, loving, such a caring woman, but whenever anyone gets hurt, she has an involuntary response.
Does she laugh?
We just laughter.
Yes! I will say, it happens to me, too.
So
It's the uncomfortableness.
Here's
When
me.
I want to help, but I'm uncomfortable.
here's me. I think maybe she just thinks it's funny. Just saying.
Also
Mom,
that.
like,
that part.
because I did spin multiple times, and she was like, to her
Also,
credit.
If I saw you on rollerblades trip on a cherub in the ground.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd be able. I'd help
then
you, but
it was-
I might be laughing.
It was the attempt at the recovery that killed me, where I was like, like trying.
Was it the type of falling where you're falling for 10 minutes?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Is she still falling?
It wasn't as embarrassing as when I dragged that unsuspecting stranger to the ground when I was skiing, where I looked him dead in the eyes and
We
said,
have no business on skis.
No.
Not at all.
I dragged a stranger to the ground in front of his friends and made direct eye contact and said, "This is happening." And his buddies just laughed at him, and he was like, "Why?" As I dragged him down to the ground. And then I bent Craig's ski pole because I fell on it. And he was like, "I've had this for 30 years." And
the memories.
And it was broken. Anyway, we got kicked out because I splatted into someone's headstone.
Do you want me to make you feel better about your rollerblading story?
I do, because I
With
feel awful.
A fun story about my brother.
Oh, I'm
So
ready.
we were all rollerblading, as you do.
As a family.
Everyone was just rollerblading all over
And
the place.
everything was turquoise and
Oh my God.
magenta.
I'm sure we were wearing windbreaker matching sets.
Windbreakers.
We have family photos in them.
Oh, wow.
Where it's like turquoise and white and pink. I was
Pink.
like, I look like Crest toothpaste. Like,
Yep.
what's happening?
You do.
And we're rollerblading, all 6 of us
Yep.
or whatever. We're out there. And we're on the UMD campus.
Mhm.
Shout out. And we're going around, and they have those little parking divots that kind of look like they're going into a tunnel.
Yep.
But it's actually just a wall
Yep.
at the end. My brother,
Oh, God.
bless him, I want to say he was 12 or 13 at the time. And I distinctly remember before he went down, this pretty steep little bit. Look, Ma, a tunnel. literally. And he just booking it. And it goes around a corner into a just concrete wall. And both of his arms were like this. Look, my tunnel. And he realized, went to brace himself. Boom! Shattered.
Oh my God.
Both wrists immediately. Had to be in like propped up casts. Like,
No.
like had to be fed by my mom as a teenager. Like how horrible.
I'm
Horrible.
horrified.
Oh my, literally, bow! Look, my tunnel. Like, we just need to not look back and talk to our moms.
No, that's
We're just trying to show them things.
the moral of the story.
Boom!
Ma!
Shattered.
Broken
He had to have that
bones.
little connector bit. I remember the dinner after the ER that night. Because, of course, I'm little sister. I'm being a little shit.
Oh,
I'm like,
you broke your arms.
full asshole. Because, well, he was 13, so I was like 9 or 10.
Look at you.
Mom has to feed you fucking rice and peas, bitch. I was such a little shit. So he was so bummed out. He's like, I have to go to school like this, right? You're in middle school.
Oh my God. How could, why go to school? You can't write nothing.
Right, yeah. I can't even remember the logistics of that because I was younger.
He can't open doors,
But
he can't
yeah.
pee.
Because it was a while. He was like, had to be like this.
How did he go to the bathroom?
I wasn't involved.
Thank God.
That was above my pay grade.
I was the little sister,
Which
okay?
I'm appreciative of. You know,
Oh.
shout out. But
All right.
yeah, rollerblades. So all in all, wear protective gear.
Protective gear.
As someone in the last year who's gotten a concussion and broken collarbone, longboarding, when you're out in nature, if you are on any type of implement that are not your legs,
Yeah.
if you're on any wheels,
If you don't want to pick gravel out of
Skiing.
your thighs for weeks.
if you don't want to get a tetanus shot, you know,
Mm.
just don't.
Just be careful. Just be careful, guys.
Careful.
You
You,
go out in
can't avoid
nature-
everything, but be careful.
Be careful.
Wear your gear,
Yes.
helmets if you're doing things that might need a helmet.
Mm-hmm. Don't take unnecessary risks. What is
No.
that? Don't go to dangerous places. Don't take unnecessary. But really, do whatever you want to do. You're all Gobs. You know what to do.
You know, but just, it might make a good story, but just, it's not fun.
Be careful. You don't want to end up like Titanium Brook over there.
2 custom plates, 12 screws. Yeah.
I remember the day vividly, the day after, because we were looking at a bison. And I said to the Commodore, I haven't heard from Brooke. That's weird. And he was like, a cactus. What happened to Brooke? And I'm like, I don't know. And he was like, did you see the cactus? I'm like, I better talk to Brooke.
I don't even remember. Did I message you or did Joel message you?
No. I messaged you. And I was like, hey, are you
Because
okay?
I was supposed to be watering your plants,
Our
I
garden,
believe.
yeah, which was
Yeah.
fine. It was okay.
But I think that's
And-
why.
Well, and I hadn't heard from you. And I was like, that's weird.
Yeah.
Normally, I would have heard from her.
Especially if I'm supposed to be doing something at your
Yeah.
house. Like, I'm checking it.
Yeah, you're very, very communicative. And so I messaged you, and it had been hours, and I'm like, I still haven't heard from her.
Like, she's dead.
And then like 8 hours after I messaged you, you were like, hey, funny story. And I'm like,
Broke my
Jesus.
whole skeleton.
Yeah, I couldn't even, I was like, oh my God. He's like, is she alive? And I'm like, well, she's messaging me.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I made it. I just, because I was in the ER for like 6 hours.
You were, yeah,
And then I was on morphine.
you were.
I was out of it.
She
man.
was.
And then from there, Dilaudid. Man, I was riding high for like 2
Vitamin
weeks.
D. That's,
I watched all of Below Deck Med. Captain Sandy. Shout out.
that's an accomplishment.
So many seasons. I watched the entirety of that show.
That would have been when you were supposed to watch Supernatural.
Yeah,
And
right.
now-
When I had the time, I'm watching Below Deck Med.
I mean, shout out.
Just eat noodle salad.
Oh my God.
It was the only thing I could eat. My mom brought over this weird but oddly delicious like cold noodle salad. It was the only thing that I didn't find disgusting because I get like nauseous on pain meds, and I was just that's all I ate for like 2 weeks.
Below Deck Med and noodle
Below
salad.
Deck Med and
all
noodle
sad,
salad, bro.
broken, and high. Except for with the other hand. Ow. Ow.
I had a pulley on the bed so I could get up to go to the bed.
Goblins.
Be careful. Wear your helmet.
Wear your helmets. And it's not embarrassing. Okay?
It is not.
It's okay if your hair's messed up.
Put stickers on it, dude.
If Lewis and Clark can go out and do it, so can you. All right?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And, send us your pics, your bingo boards. What are your favorite things to do in nature?
We want to know.
What's your stick TP?
Yeah, what is it?
What's your birch tree?
Yeah.
The fact that he's just out there raw dogging birch trees.
I wish I could explain it. It's a beautiful thing to behold, actually, because him and his element.
That.
Also,
I love it for him.
You know the Commodore.
Yeah.
You've seen the Commodore for quite a while now. When I tell you I can lose that man in the woods in 2 seconds.
Oh, I believe you.
Because he's just gone.
I fully believe
like,
you.
I'm like, hey, hun, would you want to... Gone.
I've been hiking with him.
Yeah, where he's gone.
We did that, and remember when we were looking for the pelicans and stuff that one day, and he came back, and he was just holding, like, the trunk of a tree.
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
I remember.
Ah! We're like, did you chop that down?
He goes...
Did you find it?
He goes full feral
just
in the
caveman,
woods.
like, ah!
Full.
Do you remember the drawing of SpongeBob with the pencil? Where it's like, that's him in the woods.
Yeah, that's him.
And that goblin.
And on that note, you know what to do.
Stay weird.
Stay weird.
Bye.
Bye.